And bring myself into the stream. What's going on, everybody? And happy Saturday, happy MCU, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, Fandom Day. It's my favorite day of the week, ladies and gentlemen. It is the time where we break down the latest episode of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and we talk about whatever new news we have for the week for the MCU, which we do have a trailer to talk about, which was the Loki trailer, which we'll break down for you all. But before we dive into all that fun and awesome conversation with some incredible people, welcome again. Happy Saturday. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, my name is Elliot. Welcome to the channel Movie Files. We do this every single Saturday. We did it for WandaVision. We're doing it for the Falcon Winter Soldier. And we got a couple other shows to maybe break down later this year. But this is such a fun time. Great discussions, theories, predictions, all that fun stuff you could imagine. And we have a lot to dive into this fourth episode. This episode had a lot going for it, and I'm so excited to break it all down with you all, as well as talk about that latest Loki trailer. Again, Marvel just comes with the hits, and I'm so excited to be back in the MCU. So again, if you're watching this live, again, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're doing us a favor and liking the video, sharing the video to all of your MCU fans that you know, Falcon and Winter fans that you know, and let's have a fun discussion. If you're watching this on the replay, if you can do the same, it would be greatly appreciated. So with that being said, let me bring in my co-host. First, we have this person here is always doing a great job on YouTube, on Instagram, on all her different social media accounts, giving you all the latest information for movie reviews, TV reviews, has a lot of great energy. She's a Falcon and Winter Soldier fan. She got some new merch I saw on her Instagram a little bit earlier today. So excited to have her back as we do every single Saturday. I'm talking about the one and only Amanda. What's going on?
Hey, happy Saturday. This was a fantastic episode. I can't wait to dive into this. And thanks for having me again, Elliot. It's the best day ever.
We got some stuff to discuss. I know your boy Cap and Mr. John Walker went off the rails a little bit, but we're going to break it all down. But Amanda, hey, if this is the first time that people are seeing you, if you want to let them know where they can find you and what you're all about.
Yeah, of course. You guys can find me over at AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can find me over on YouTube at Candid Cinema and my website, candidxcinema.com, where I have all of my reviews and some rants. I kind of went on a rant with Thunder Force. Go check that out on YouTube.
I was going to bring up Thunder Force, Amanda, because I saw, after that movie, are you no longer a fan of crab and chicken after watching that
again.
film?
I can't do it. I can't do it. Jason Bateman completely turned me off of crab. I can't do it.
Thunder Force. That was an interesting movie, to say the least. And Thunder Force #1 fan, we have him here as well. Our co-host Chris coming in here, guys. If you haven't been following this guy's YouTube channel, what an incredible channel. Great reviews for movies, a lot of Netflix coverage, a lot of great takes. He's Anthony Mackie's #1 fan. I'm talking about the one and only Chris from Tait's Take. What's up, man?
What's up? What's up? The more you say it, the more people are gonna start believing it. So
as they should.
Hey, you gotta bring it to light, man. Bring it to fruition, man. How you doing today, Chris?
Everything's groovy, man. Nice little spring day here in New York City. So we good.
Nice, man. Got any theater stories for us? Last time you went to the theater, it was a pretty fun event, man.
No, I don't have any theater stories. I forgot. I put it in the chat, but I forgot to mention that they were charging for masks if you didn't have a mask. So that was another thing I forgot to mention. Like even like the train station here in New York, like if you don't have your mask, they just give them away. Like people don't even like riding the trains, but even they give it for free. Yeah. But I was supposed to go back this weekend. I saw your review for Voyagers. I want to check that out just because I got the A-list. But I don't know if I have time this weekend. But that's my next my next mission. Interesting
film, man. It's a really interesting film. It didn't work for me entirely, but I'm a sci-fi fanatic, so always checking out the latest sci-fi, man. But speaking of the latest and greatest and all that stuff, man, if this is the first time people are checking you out, Chris, what are you all about, my friend?
All right. If this is the first time you're checking me out, that means I didn't get canceled yet. So let's just keep that going. I am Chris from Tait's Take. I do, like you said, movies, TV shows, do a lot of documentaries, try to give you a little background, so let you know how I feel about the show. But yeah, all my information is in Ellie's description here. You can find me at Tait's Take. My social media stuff is in there as well. I got Instagram, Twitter, my email's on there in case you guys just want to correspond. But I'm just excited to be here again. But check me out if you guys are into that kind of stuff. But let's get it going.
No doubt, man. I'm so excited to hear your take on this episode, to see if Anthony Mackie's growing on you, man. If he's getting there on you, like Koi Ayo said to Bucky, shedding him off like a fur. I want him to get on to Chris and to stay on you, man. It's the Mackie magic, man. No doubt, man. But we don't do these alone. In regards to, we have incredible co-hosts and we have some great banter. But we also like to bring in some special guests. And this gentleman here was on the channel last month or 2 months ago when we did WandaVision. WandaVision. And we were talking about sleep a little bit earlier, and I don't know how this man gets sleep because he is constantly putting out so much great content, waking up at the crack of dawn, reviewing shows like this, animes, and so much more. And this is just a great guy, and I'm excited to have him on back again, talking the Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm talking about the one and only Zach Pope. What's going on, man?
Man, thank you so much for having me, guys. Again, I'm excited to talk this episode. I'm really happy I picked an episode that like something actually happened. I'm really happy that this was the episode that I picked. So I'm excited to be here talking about it, man. There's a lot to discuss when it comes into this whole entire show. So
no doubt, Zach. And then again, if this is for whatever reason, man, someone just created a YouTube today. They just got a Google account and they're just coming on the internet for the very first time. Zach, where can the people find you, and what are you all about?
Man, easily. You can just head on over to YouTube, type in Zach Pope. You find me over there. I am the Wolf of Geek Street. I love talking movies, TV, and games. So if you like doing that too, or you're just like a geek like me, then come and subscribe over there and we can keep talking all that sorts of stuff.
No doubt. Do yourself a favor, ladies and gentlemen. Check out Amanda, Chris, and Zach. All their links are in the bio. You will not be disappointed. And speaking of not being disappointed, Marvel, they took a year off. They said, you know what, COVID, we're going to let you, we're going to do some things behind the scenes. We're going to get these people ready for 2021 and all the years ahead. And we got a lot of great stuff to discuss today. Starting off with a brand new trailer, ladies and gentlemen. We got Loki, which is coming out June 11th. It's going to be coming after Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're going to have a little bit of a longer break from what we got from WandaVision. But we got a new trailer. And before we dive into it, this new trailer I'm going to play for you all. Starting with you, Amanda, is Loki a show that you're looking forward to before we jump into this trailer?
I didn't really care for it. Chris knows this because it's on the top of his list. So obviously it's at the bottom of my list. So it was there. It wasn't my most anticipated. But then the trailer came out and I was like, you know what? I'm into it. Tom Hiddleston's great. And it's so great to see him again as Loki. He's fantastic. So I am excited now.
Chris, I think Amanda already alluded to it. This was something you were looking forward to, man. But after seeing these latest trailers, is it like really getting you excited?
Yeah, I think the trailers are dope. Loki's just one of my favorite characters. Just how Vision is one of my favorite characters. So I'm excited to see what they do with it. Are they doing 6, 9? Is that released? How many episodes?
I think it's 8. I think it's 8, 6 or 8, and then I know it's already confirmed for a second season.
Yeah. Which is always that's good news if you're talking to me. Yeah. So definitely something you're looking forward to, Chris.
Yeah, for sure. I still think maybe at the end, like Wanda might be the best show, like most interesting.
He's still in
but
that
Loki is still the one that I look forward to the most before all 3 of them came out to be. But the trailer made it look even better for people who don't really care about Loki. I feel like the trailer made people like, okay, this might be all right.
That's true.
Hey, tossing it to you, Zach, as far as anticipation level for this before we dive into the trailer, man. Where's Loki sit for you?
It's funny. I wasn't excited for the show at all when they announced it. I remember when they did announce all this stuff at Comic-Con. I was like, okay, like I'm for it. I love Tom Hiddleston as Loki, but like I don't think we need a show with him anymore.
Yeah.
Then the first trailer came out, and I went, wow. That is not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah.
And then the second trailer, which just came out also, and it's my most anticipated thing they're doing besides Moon Knight for the shows.
Yeah.
I think when it was announced, I didn't think it was going to tie in that heavily. Like I thought it was going to be this fun side adventure thing with Loki going to different kind of things. Mm-hmm. But now it actually seems to fit way more important than we think it is. And if it's what I'm thinking that they're going to set up Kang within here, then I'm 100% all in because Kang is one of the coolest Marvel villains. And since we already know Jonathan Majors is going to be him, and the fact that Jonathan Majors is playing Kang is like the coolest thing in the entire world because Jonathan Majors is freaking awesome. So I'm excited to see. Loki's now my most anticipated show from Marvel until Moon Knight, and then just count me all in. That's all I want is Moon Knight.
Hey,
top to bottom.
I'm right there with you, man. And like the panel said, this is something that for me personally, I love Tom Hiddleston in the role, but it's just like the guy's died like 3 or 4 times. And it seems like Marvel sometimes is just like milking that character. But when you have a good character, you got to do something new. You got to do something fresh. You got to bring them back to the forefront. And I think that there's going to be a lot to this show. And I'm excited for it. But with all that being said, for those that are just now hearing about the Loki trailer, if you missed it this past week, we got a surprise for you all. We're going to play the trailer and we're going to break it down and see what we got here. So let's get this bad boy started with the new Loki trailer.
I know what this place is. The Timekeepers have built quite the circus. And I
My
see
girl.
the clowns are playing their parts to perfection.
He's just so great in that
Big
role.
metaphor
It's
guy.
fantastic.
I love it.
Oh,
Makes you
no.
sound super smart.
I am
It's
smart.
Lightning McQueen.
I know.
Literally.
Okay.
I love this bit here.
It has like a Twilight
This is
Zone
everything
vibe.
you've ever said.
Yeah.
This is absurd.
So upset.
So hilarious.
Sign this too. We protect the proper flow of time.
You picked up the Tesseract, breaking reality.
I want you to help us fix it.
Why me?
I need your unique Loki perspective.
Do I get a weapon?
Nah.
Looks so awesome.
You really believe in this Loki variant?
Luckily, he believes in himself enough for the both of us.
Why? It is adorable that you think you could possibly manipulate me. I'm 10 steps ahead
This
of
show
you.
looks beautiful.
Like,
You're not
amazing.
big on trust, are you?
You can trust me.
Loki, I've studied almost every moment of your entire life. You've literally stabbed people in the back like 50 times.
I'd never do it again.
They're gonna be so great.
Jesus Christ, it just looks so
I'm hyped. I'm
I can't.
hyped.
It's looking good, ladies and gentlemen. This reminds me so much of I don't know if you guys watch Legion on FX.
Yes.
Noah
Yeah.
Hawley. It kind of gives me that Legion
Yes.
vibe with the colors and kind of how they're shaping everything out. But Amanda, tossing into you first in regards to this trailer.
It looks
What are we
wicked.
getting into? Time travel, 13 branches of reality. Loki has to fix reality. What can we look forward to in this show, man?
It's gonna be a lot to process, and guess what? There's gonna be 10 times more theories that we're gonna
Oh,
talk about.
oh my gosh.
for this
Mephisto, you
show.
guys thought Mephisto was the talk of the town. Wait till we get to this show.
Jesus. It looks incredible. It looks really good, and it's gonna connect to everything in future films as well. That's what it gives that feel. More so than WandaVision, because that's more of like a character piece for Wanda. So this is gonna look at everything, and oh my god, I can't wait. I can't wait.
I
Correct.
think the coolest thing about this trailer, real fast, is how it doesn't tell. I don't know what the story's about.
Right?
The basic
Yeah.
thing is them fixing something, but
Yeah.
you don't know anything about it. It doesn't spoil anything. It doesn't hint at anything. I don't even know what I'm watching. I'm just like mesmerized the
beautiful.
entire time. That's the thing that's so interesting about it. Where like WandaVision kind of had that same thing, but throughout while we were watching WandaVision, we're like, okay, where's this scene? Where's this scene? I have no idea. I don't even want to see anything else from this movie or this show. I just want to watch it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, Zach. Man, Chris, man, I know this was high on your list, man. This trailer, bro, is doing a lot for us.
Yeah, and I didn't know Owen was in it. I'm a big Owen fan.
Yeah.
So this is how I'm a big Jason Bateman fan. Like even in Thunder Force, I was like, this is
He was
you're the
best
only
part.
reason.
Yeah.
I'm like
100%.
canceling Netflix. You're the only reason. But and I didn't expect Owen. I don't do a lot of reading before the show. I try to just let it come to me. But I didn't know he was in it. So but the trailer, he's just perfect in it. It's like he doesn't Loki's like this god, and he's like Owen doesn't care. Like he's just talking to him like a regular dude. So I thought the whole trailer was dope. And like Zach said, I have no idea what the hell this is about. We can kind of understand what Falcon was going to be about. We knew kind of Wanda was just doing some we just knew what her goal was, trying to get Vision back. I have no idea. We know Loki took the fucking Tesseract. We don't know where he went, and that's all I got. We'll see. What that we got a couple months to get there, but it looks good.
And also, I just looked up. There will be 6 episodes. It has been announced.
okay.
There's six episodes, 44 to 55 minutes long, and it is confirmed for a second season because the writer of this, who wrote Doctor Strange 2, who's writing the Star Wars film for Kevin Feige, he's confirmed to write the season 2. Okay. So
Nice. And if I'm not mistaken, he's he works with Rick and Morty, right? It's the same writer from that.
That's where he started. And a lot
time travel stuff.
of these, the She-Hulk writers also from Rick and Morty. And I think Miss Marvel is too. I mean, they really took
Marvel,
a lot of
man.
writers from
Yeah.
them and said, let's. I mean, look at Deadpool as the Bob Sperkers writers. So
They got a talent pool. I don't know how
Yeah.
they. I mean, of course, everyone wants to work for Disney. It's like the dream job, I would imagine, as a writer. But I love how they scout these amazing talents out. But going back to breaking it down a little bit more, starting with you, Amanda. A lot of people theorizing Natasha Romanoff. This is Vermeer, and then he's at the Soul Stone. I don't think that is the case. I think that's Lady Loki. But hey, who knows? He's got a lot of time travel going on. Maybe he can go to another timeline.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know, and I'm not going to theorize, but Lady Loki would be cool, like you said, so I agree with you. I'm just not going to jump in on, I can't do it. WandaVision literally took everything out of me week after week, so I'm good.
Chris, man, you got any opinions on this particular mysterious character who a lot of people, again, there's a hooded figure that we see throughout the trailer, too, that a lot of people are theorizing it's the same character, but Natasha, is she making an appearance?
I don't have any theories except the fact that is not Natasha. That's all I got. Like, there's no way that they're in Vormir with Natasha. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
And right before, no.
Zach,
I don't want to say anything. It is out there. Who is that? It is out there right now. Yeah, because the casting came out, so I'm not going to say anything because I know there's certain things in here that it's not leaked, but it's just out there. So, gotcha. So there's a lot of things in this trailer that I'm confused by because in my trailer reaction, I was like, "Oh, Black Widow," and then every comment, it's this. So then when I went and looked it up, I'm like, "Okay, yep, that makes sense." And then I think the villain even came out too, who the actual villain is. So.
Interesting. I know you mentioned Kane the Conqueror a little bit earlier, which I know I can never pronounce her name. She's an incredible actress. Does anyone on the panel know how to pronounce Muru?
Man, don't even try. I'm the worst.
Gugu?
Gugu
Mufara, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
She's fantastic. I love her in everything I see her in, and I guess she's been revealed to be playing Renslayer, who has connective ties to King the Conqueror, which. I don't know if the Disney and MCU, if they'll use Disney Plus as a platform to launch a huge character like that. Again, just thinking about the whole Mephisto nightmare thing. It's not everyone's going to be watching it. So why would you introduce a big bad on a TV series? It would be interesting. I mean, Jonathan Majors, as we all know, has his ties into TV world with Lovecraft Country last year. And obviously that would be interesting to introduce him in the show and of course in Ant-Man 3, but we are dealing with time.
What's cool about this is again, you get what you put into these shows. I think we've talked about that. WandaVision, my grandma probably doesn't need to watch WandaVision, but if she were to go see Doctor Strange 2, she might be a little lost in what's going on.
Right.
But we have that emotional attachment now to Wanda. Now, wherever White Vision shows up, who God knows where that could be. It's probably going to be in TV, to be honest. When that shows up, it'll probably be in TV first, just because whoever's watching the shows is probably watching every other thing. That's the way I view it because think about it this way. I'm sure we're all in the camp that Falcon's going to end up with the shield by the end of the show. I mean, it's just, and what if he's leading the Avengers next time? Well, for my dad, who maybe doesn't want to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, he's not going to be confused because at the end of Endgame, you saw him pass the shield to him. So they do these things where I think it's smart, where it's the more you get into it. So this show could be the launch off for Kang or the hints at him. And us who are giant fanboys of it might be like, oh my God, this is Kang, blah, blah, blah. So when we go and see Ant-Man with our friend who's a dumbass who doesn't want to watch these shows, we can be like, oh, that's Kang. That's Kang. And they're like, who's Kang? It's kind of that cool thing that I think the shows will be doing. But I think there's a lot of people who watch these shows more than
the Falcon and Winter Soldier, the first episode, most watched Disney premiere of all time so far, and that's including the Mandalorian and WandaVision. So people are definitely tuning in.
I'm shocked by the Mandalorian thing not being the highest, but
it just goes to show, man, that 13 years of goodwill with the fans. People will tune into these shows, and again, just kind of wrapping up, just kind of a little breakdown here. Again, 13 different realities of branches being created by Loki, which is something that the Ancient One warned Bruce Banner about, but obviously Bruce, they had a plan to put everything back into place, but obviously with Loki taking that Tesseract, it messed things up. So Amanda, are you theorizing in regards to these 6 episodes as far as the fixing of the time per week type of storyline? Do you think this is a show that's going to be more, I actually think this might be more of a timekeeper show just happens to have Loki in it versus the other way around. I think they're using Loki as like the selling point to introduce this new kind of time bandits, because we've never heard of them before, which is always something to, you know, gear your mind towards, and the MCU kind of backtracking a little bit. But in regards to what you're hoping to see with this show as we wrap it up,
well, like you said, like I think that it's just gonna like break it down. We have 6 episodes, so you have to put in as much as you can in those 6 episodes, so you get to explore different avenues. So yeah, I think they're gonna really break it down each week and give us a taste of like different realities each week. Because if you look at the title card, everything keeps switching. So I don't think that it'll just like keep us in a place for too long, if that makes sense. So I think that they're really going to break it down. And for season 2, if they can keep doing that and then connect it to the movies and then like explore these realities and how one thing affects the other, and we don't see it on the big screen, but we see it on Loki, like it would be really cool to have that connection.
I totally agree with you, man. And Chris, I mean, I'm not a big fan of time travel. I love me some Endgame, but time travel can get very, very, you know, messy, very convoluted. And I love Dark, which is the best time travel like story of all time. But what do you think about in regards to this time travel? Are we going to be getting appearances from Thor, Odin, you know, Hela, different timelines? You know, he's a variant. Are we going to get other characters that we might have seen in the past make their return in the show besides, you know, the theory of Natasha?
Yeah, I don't think we're seeing Natasha. I don't think we're seeing Thor. Maybe a flashback that's something that's already like been established, but I don't think we'll
or like
Thor.
them as kids or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Time is interesting because then it's like it's kind of cheaper. You could just fix anything. It's kind of like X3.
Yep.
But yeah, this show all the way is going to be interesting because I, in my opinion, Loki's like the least popular of Wanda, Falcon, and you know like people who are like casual would probably pick Loki last. Because even if you're like kind of like a casual fan, you recognize, you know, like, you know, Wanda and Vision as like this sitcom coolly like fun show, and then like you see the Shield, you recognize Captain America. But I think Loki might be like the lowest key. But yeah, I'm interested to see how they use Loki to like bring in this whole time thing, and as long as they don't abuse it, like I feel like it's like,
that's my fear, man, because time travel can be very murky's up the water, man. Which Zach, you know, wrapping up this topic and this breakdown, man, in regards to other people you might want to. Again, we got the Avengers in the background. You know, Idris Elba, you know, he might make an appearance in the show. But any takes on what you are maybe theorizing that we can maybe see in the show, and just again your anticipation for the show, man?
I think Ralph Bohner, 100%.
Ralph Bohner.
Zach do not.
No, but honestly, I don't know. The first season I think is going to play it safe with having people show up in it. To be honest, season 2 though. I'm going to say this. I think if this show is successful and season 2 actually does end up coming out, because I know they're writing it, but you know, it's not greenlit till it's greenlit and we're seeing it made. I'm going to say this. We're all waiting to see where Ryan Reynolds shows up first. I could see him showing up in this. I could see him showing up in a little thing, him and Loki having a banter. I'm not saying in the first season. I think a second season would make more sense. I still believe his first appearance is going to be in Doctor Strange 2 as a cameo, but we'll see. I mean, it's hard to theorize, especially when this trailer really gives us nothing.
Yeah.
It gives us nothing. And I already know that episode's going to come up where everyone's thinking it's Black Widow, and we're all going to do videos, and we're going to get comments saying, how dare it not be Black Widow? How dare it not? That's the point, guys. Like, Marvel knows what they're doing.
Yeah. And it is funny, too, that this show will be in its 4th or 5th episode when Black Widow comes out, which, you know, we'll see what happens there in regards to this timing of everything, or certain characters making an appearance that might be in Black Widow's show that maybe has a moment here. But one thing I do want to point on before we go into the Falcon Winter Soldier, we see Loki using powers that we've never seen him for. And I don't know if you guys have any issues with, and we'll talk about it with the Falcon Winter Soldier, of like not rewriting the character, but introducing new things that we've never seen before, never seen new power sets, never seen or heard of the time keepers. Like, where were the timekeepers doing in game? So any issues at all with you guys in regards to writing things not backwards, but introducing things that should have maybe been in the universe any earlier? Is that anything that bothers you guys, or you just, you know what, Marvel, just give it to me? Start with you, Amanda.
Well, in that case, like, we haven't really explored Loki fully, so having his own show would make sense to see different powers from him. So I'm not opposed to it. I think it's cool if you introduce new things that we haven't seen, because there's so much in the comic books and what we don't see on screen. So I don't really mind it.
Any issues with that with you, Chris, with introducing new things that maybe are just kind of like, why weren't they there, bro? In previous iterations?
Yeah, so two things. So like the first thing for Loki, I always see him as just using magic. So then I would just say like maybe just magic that he just didn't show us yet. So I'm like, he can probably do a whole bunch of shit that we don't know about.
Right.
Then I would say for like the time stuff, like then maybe we just say like what Captain Marvel says, like, well, there's a whole lot of other planets that we hang out at. So like Earth is not the fucking the center of our universe. So maybe they could just say like we just wasn't around. We got shit to do. So we'll see how they handle it. In Marvel, we trust. I trust.
Yeah.
We always do.
Same with you, Zach. Any issues with introducing things that maybe are just kind of adding into the characters that should have been there before?
No. They introduce new things all the time. Like I'm still wondering how Thor's not fat anymore. I mean, for the new Thor film. I don't know about you guys.
Thank God.
It's true though.
Like that tummy don't go away that fast. I'm just saying. You keep that thing for that long. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'm sure it's just, hey, new power,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Captain America picked up a fucking hammer and shot electricity out of it. So
very true. Very true.
Like, you just go along with it. So
yeah.
It's not like an Oscar film, but I'm still saying maybe Marvel can win one day, but definitely not for Loki. I'm fine. It looks like magic shooting out of his hand. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I imagine like you guys said, he's never had his own solo project, so there's obviously we're not going to spend a bunch of time on Loki in a Thor film or Loki in the Avengers and so on and so forth. So I would imagine we're going to meet some new things, some new characters, and of course some new abilities from Mr. Tom Hiddleston as Loki. But nonetheless, as you all can see, we're pretty excited about it, and it looks like everyone in the chat's pretty excited for it as well, and excited to see the next project that Marvel has up their sleeve. But before we get to Loki, we got a show that we've been diving into these last 4 weeks, and that is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We just got the 4th episode, and we talked about it a little bit off screen, but this might be my second favorite episode thus far. There was a lot to unpack, and before we dive into it, just kind of your initial take on this episode, Amanda, and I guess like rankings-wise, does this sit pretty high up for you as well?
Yeah, it's actually my second favorite. I love episode 2 so much, but episode 4, oh my God, my mind was blown. I literally could not fall asleep. I probably fell asleep until at like 6 a.m. from like watching it at 3 a.m. It was incredible. I loved it.
It was great. I mean, Chris, man, what was this is our first time hearing Chris's opinion on this episode. I don't know where you stand with this, man, especially after last week's breakdown and some things that we thought could have been a little bit better. But what'd you think about this episode, man?
Yeah, so last week was easily my least favorite of the series. This week, no, this week was easily my favorite of the series so far. Nice, and like I remember liking episode 2. I think we talked about. I did like episode 2. It was Isaiah Bradley's introduction. No.
Yep.
So yeah, that's huge. That's a huge moment. But the moments that I didn't like about that episode, like the whole like Black Lives Matter thing and the cops and all that, like that took away from it. Like this episode, I didn't really have much like negatives to say about this episode. So like I didn't have any like really like faults with it. I think the best scene of the series was the Wakanda fight with the whole shield and all that. I don't think that scene will be topped in 5 and 6. So this might be the peak of all peaks. But that scene was one of the best scenes in like Marvel's history. Shows, movies.
So good.
For a TV show, my God.
It goes to show you, Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever they stay. They
got where we be at, like basically, like we got where we at. So yeah, easily my favorite episode. So excited to see what Zach got to say about it.
Man, where do you sit with this episode, man?
It's funny. It's not my favorite one. I feel in the minority because I really liked last week's episode. But I loved the themes in this episode, and that's what I love about this show is I love the themes, the darkness, the things that they're all placing out there. I do think it's a little too much. I think they're not diving into some of them as hard as I wish they would. And the more I watch this show, the more I say I wish this was a damn movie. I think Sam Wilson, the first film being him owning and coming to his own and being Captain America, I think would be wonderful. And then, the next 2 films are him actually as Cap, I think would be cool. But, I like this show. I get really frustrated with certain things because it feels clunky and it's weird. I don't feel that watching it, and I don't feel it right after. But like a couple days later, I feel off about it. I'm like, why am I not like looking forward to the show every week? But I will say that the thing about this episode is, I think you say the stuff with the Wakandans in here is absolutely incredible. And I was just excited to see them show up because Black Panther is my third favorite Marvel film. So anytime I get more Wakanda, Dora Milaje, or any of that nature, I'm like all for it. And they kicked ass, and I loved seeing them just sit back and watch John Walker get his ass kicked. I mean, John Walker, and he's so mad. They're not even superhuman.
Oh yeah,
dude, they're the strongest army in the entire world. Like, stop.
Loved it.
I think the thing about this is that the performances are great. The opening scene with Bucky, dear God, was perfect. The stuff, the conversation between Karli and Sam was probably the best thing of the entire episode. And then just building up to that finale where, God, I wish it wasn't spoiled because there are so many people that took videos and posted on Twitter of him hitting the
doing
shit.
that action.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I will say I don't like that they killed Battlestar. I think that was kind of dumb. I don't.
We'll get into that because there's some rumors out there that he might not be dead.
I hope not, because the way I view it, man, you could have killed an innocent civilian, and I think it would have been the same thing of him being frustrated and taking out that guy. But the blood being on the shield is one of the most like haunting images the MCU has done yet. Okay. And I think for me, I'm really looking forward to these next 2 episodes. I don't believe they'll be able to finish everything out, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like there will still be a lot of open questions. I just really hope we get back, because I thought the entire story for Falcon and Winter Soldier was going to be Falcon coming to his own as Captain America, or building his way there, and Bucky kind of getting past that Winter Soldier mindset. So it's interesting, but you know, I'm building to it. I like the show. I wanted to hit that next peak level. Maybe I was spoiled because of WandaVision, man. I don't know.
It's so interesting too, because I was talking to Griffin about this the other day in regards to this is something, you know, history in the making, because this is essentially a movie, right? I know you mentioned like this could have been a movie. I look at this as a movie. I actually watched episodes 3 and 4 like back to back earlier today, and it played just like if I was sitting in a theater. This is the second half of the film. You know, we ended on the Dora Milaje with Bucky. We pick back up just like if you would see in the film, just kind of give you that idea of their history. So it is so weird because we're so conditioned and trained, especially in the world of streaming, being so deep into television, character arcs, things haven't completed, storylines being, you know, wrapped up. But this is the MCU, and they're giving us movies in a form of television. They're just breaking it up into certain chapters. So it is, mentally speaking, it's so hard to kind of get in that mindset. Because like you said, Zach, I know we're not going to probably get a perfect bow on how they're going to end things. We might not see, you know, where's Torres character. We might not see him again. We might not see the Shrink again. And, you know, in a long form show.
Isaiah.
That's what's bothering me.
And then Patriot, his
Eli
grandson,
Bradley.
I mean, it's for me. That's my one thing, and that's always been my one thing with Marvel films. It feels like they're setting up a lot to go into the next thing. There's been rumors that Thunderbolts is a big thing. Zemo's a part of that team. This person's part of that team. That person, who's the power broker? Who's this? And I'm waiting to see like and WandaVision set up stuff. Right. Besides the last episode. Besides the last episode. I don't blame him for that. I understand each thing. I feel like that show would have had a better finale if it wasn't for that. But still, I love WandaVision. I just didn't feel like it was a setup show. It felt like a character piece. And I feel like Falcon Winter Soldier started as a character piece. Yeah. And then went into this globetrotting adventure, which, don't get me wrong, it's heavily entertaining. Yeah. But and they have character piece moments here and there. It's just like, I want more of Sam. I want more of Sam Wilson. That's who I came to this show to watch, and everyone else is kind of a little bit of an extra thing for me. And it's just interesting. And like me and Ren were talking about it. He thinks John Walker, I mean, he's going to stay in the world too. He'll probably be a part of the Thunderbolts. I mean, it just feels like a whole entire type of setup thing, like underlying, like why we have so many characters in here. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. I really hope these next 2 episodes, I mean, each episode's getting longer. The next one's
Supposed to be an hour. Yeah,
So,
yeah. We'll talk about that rumor a little bit later. But it's a lot of good stuff you're saying. There's that I know too with your on your sentiments with Sam. It is interesting to see because I think this episode more than anything, and I would love to get Chris's take on this. He was Captain America in this episode to me. All the stuff with him and Karli and his his position of power and not resulting to violence and killing someone, which Cap wouldn't do. This was Sam to me. Showing, we'll obviously break it down a little bit later in this discussion, but this to me, he doesn't need that shield to be Captain America. He is the shield. He represents what Captain America is supposed to be. And as we see with John Walker using that shield as not necessarily the same way that Steve Rogers did, he uses it as a weapon. And I think Sam is using it for something, for a greater purpose. He's going to be actually more of the shield than the shield being him. So it's not the man that makes the shield, it's the shield or the other way around. It's the man
Does
that
anyone
makes
even
the
want to
shield.
own like a Captain America shield anymore? Like I've always wanted to own one.
Yeah.
And I was
I
talking
want
to my
one.
friend who's like the biggest Captain America fan in the world.
Yeah.
Like I bought him a shield for his birthday one year. And I asked him, I was like, how is it? He goes, it doesn't feel right to stare at it anymore in my room. And I'm like, I mean, I get that. I get that. So
I'm surprised, Amanda. I'm surprised you don't have one. Do you have one?
I do. I have a nightlight. It's lodged into my wall.
Is there blood on it now?
No, there's no blood on it. No, literally, like I cannot look at. I literally said, if Sam's gonna hold the shield, I need Shuri to construct a new one without this being tainted at all. Like it just, oh my god, I
You
can't.
might be onto something there, Amanda.
I said in the review, John Walker destroyed Steve's legacy in 30 seconds.
Exactly.
Which, look at our world today. I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of how it is. You see,
Oh, yeah.
I think that image of the kid recording him on the phone was more powerful than I think, again, a lot of things that Marvel has done yet. And I think, I'm really looking forward to see what they do these next 2 episodes. I hope it gets more focused in overall, and we can kind of just be like, it had a rocky start, but it came out to its own. We don't see the full picture yet.
Yeah. I agree, man. And it's, my boy Steve is somewhere on Maui looking at what John Walker did to his shield. Old man Cap, he's pissed right now, but or he's on the moon, I should say, as Sam said. He's doing some moon stuff. But let's get into this 4th episode, which was titled "The Whole World Was Watching," and damn, yes, it was. As we start off this episode with, I know Amanda, I saw your tweets, which by the way, guys, again, not only follow these people on YouTube's, but check them out on their Instagrams and their Twitters and all that. I saw your take on the scene. I mean, literally Bucky, Sebastian Stan to open up this episode, that emotional moment, going to Wakanda, seeing Ayo and that therapy session, which, not to derail the conversation, but just quickly starting with you, Amanda, romantically speaking, you don't think that Ayo and Bucky had anything going, right? Or was there something there that
No, we're gonna keep Bucky single because he's gonna we're just gonna keep him there. He can't go through anything anymore. Let him focus on himself. I think he needs some me time after all of these years being thrown around basically and manipulated. So I think that this scene, I started crying because Sebastian Stan knocked it out of the park. One of the most emotional moments in the MCU, next to like Tony dying and Steve giving Sam the shield. Like, this is up there for me because I love Bucky so much. And for him to just be set free, the way that she just like really took the time and even said the words differently, I thought that was really important for him to kind of reverse the meaning of those words. And she took the time with him. And it was great that we saw that connection right off the bat in this episode. They didn't waste any time, considering that's how it ended in the previous episode. So this was just like unreal from Seb. Like, it was, oh my god, his performance was great. And like that he's free, he was sobbing, and it was just so freaking powerful. It really was. I adore him. I really do.
I totally agree with you, man. Hey, Chris, man, did you get in the feels? Did you feel for Bucky at that point as we see the flashbacks of him being a Winter Soldier and hearing those words, man? I'm set free, and also seeing Ayo being there for him and saying, I don't think this is gonna work. I'm not gonna let you hurt anyone. And I'm so glad that the actress is getting more. She's been a badass the 5 films we've seen her, but having her being able to have more lines and being more integral, and hopefully, telling you, Dora Milaje, Wakanda series, give it to me tomorrow. But Chris, man, going to you with this opening scene, seeing Bucky being set free.
Yeah, great opening scene. We ended the episode with the beads last week, so we knew we're going to get some Wakanda. I'm glad that it started right there to give that background. I don't think that they're in love. I mean, that's cool, but I don't see that. They don't. Look at that picture right there. That's not what you love. That's someone that you're like, I will beat your ass right now.
Right.
Plus, this dude is like, he's still from the 40s. Like, he probably wasn't dating black. Like, I'm sure he's not like racist, but like, he's definitely not dating black. Let's not forget where he's from. So, still a great scene though. Love you, Bucky.
Totally agree. Tossing it to you, Zach, in regards to this opening sequence, seeing Bucky being set free, seeing this friendship, this bondship of the White Wolf and Ayo. What you thought?
Can we all be remembered that Sebastian Stan should have been nominated for I, Tonya? But
yes,
great,
sadly,
great man.
Yo, I didn't even realize that. Hold on.
It was a fantastic. Oh my god, he was great. I love that movie.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I love Sebastian Stan as an actor. I think this guy just comes into the role each and every time. He knows the assignment. Like we've seen all those tweets of they know the assignment. Sebastian Stan knows the assignment.
I agree.
And it was really cool to see Aduye. Like I've like always appreciated her. I think she's always that right hand man to or right hand woman to Okoye. And I think for me, like she stands out. Like I don't get how people thought that was Okoye. Like when we saw the tweets and stuff. Like when she showed up, I'm like, hey, like, that's cool. Like, and I thought that was better to use her than an Okoye or a Shuri or whoever. I think it was cool to bring her in because Okoye is probably handling something else. So she's powerful as well too, and she has. I like how they just come into that room. Of course, we'll get there, but for me in this scene, I don't see them as lovers. I never got that. I think Marvel's kind of over the we're going to have the boy and girl character have to have a relationship, guys. I mean, how many times did you see that? Hulk and Black Widow were apparently smashing. That didn't go anywhere.
I see what you did there.
Smash.
Captain America and Sharon Carter.
Yeah.
That was forgotten very fast.
And very horrible.
I meant to talk about this last week. We didn't. I forgot to bring it up last week. But in the scene with Sharon in the room and Zemo's there and Sam's changing, and Sharon tells him like much better, but his shirt was off. Was she flirting with him at that moment? Like I was trying to get the point there because we didn't talk about it. Because I know the outfit was so bad, but it wasn't a new outfit that he was wearing to say like that's better. But was she saying I like what I see there?
No. No.
Amanda, look, stay focused.
Clear us up, Amanda.
I mean, people flirt all the time. Can we just be honest? Bucky and Sam have flirted more in this entire show than they've flirted with anyone else. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I know a lot of people make the jokes of them rolling around and frolicking in the grass, but like, I thought the same thing when they were rolling around. I'm like, Anakin and Padme? All right.
I know Michael is in the chat. I know he's loving this conversation because he's been preaching to have those two get together for the longest. So, hey.
I don't think they will. I think our first character like that will be in Eternals. I think that's kind of
Brian Tyree Henry. And his husband in the film. Yeah. Yep.
So and that's cool. So I just they're free. He's free, and Aduye and him have nothing to do with each other. So it's okay.
No, I agree. But again, like Amanda said, I thought that was a great way to pick up the pieces from last week. Again, and watching it literally episode 3 and 4 back to back, it felt so cinematic to just kind of have that be there. And also too, I know there's been some conversation about people feeling like having the Dora Milaje in the mix is kind of too fan servicey, which I personally don't agree with that because it makes thematical sense. And as she says in the scene, T'Chaka, our king, was killed by this man. Of course, they're going to be involved if he's broken out of prison because number one, they didn't even want him in an American, or in a U.S. based prison. They wanted to take him to Wakanda. So I think, to me, it's not fan service. It makes sense to the story. But again, to each their own. Like I said, I know some people feel like it feels a little forced or too much Marvel fan service at that point. But I thought it made perfect sense that a Dora Milaje member, and especially her being the one, because that was the first character we met from Dora Milaje in 4.
Like any Wakandans would show up. But then again, he picks up the B at the end of episode 3. I'm like, this makes really sense. I hope they're still in the show, though, to be honest. I hope it isn't, they're in this and now Zemo's gone and doing whatever. Like that's again, it seemed like I'm waiting for Isaiah to show back up or something of that context to show back up because it's like you introduce it for what reason? Like I'm still waiting on that. So
all my money that he comes back.
I do too.
He has to. There's no way.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a really important conversation between the two of them in the next episode or like the last one. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Also, I have a question. So we've all seen the trailer of like Sam throwing the shield back. Do you guys think that's the last scene of the show?
I will
think so.
riot. No.
I think so. And then seeing him and Bucky kind of walk away. Yeah, I mean, it could be a flashback of him training and not maybe feeling the seeds being planted that he doesn't feel like this is right for him. But yeah, I mean, that's you gotta love trailers, man.
Dude, I'll just say that's not a bit in the trailer.
That moment though.
Yeah. It just looks important, like especially when they hold hands, you know, and come in together and they get that bro hug kind of going. So
all the feels with that moment right there.
I think you're right. I think you're onto something. I think that might be definitely probably a last episode as far as last scene. I think it might be, but he's going to take on that shield. But we'll get to Mr. Sam here because he had, like I said, I thought he was the most Captain America that we've seen of him in this show. But in regards to Mr. Zemo, man, Mr. Dance Man here. The best dancer in the world.
The German Lightning McQueen. If no one knows that, he plays Lightning McQueen in the German version.
I saw that video.
Zemo is the man. But this is an interesting conversation that Bucky comes in, he warns them, which I love that the show just gets straight to the chase. There's no hiding secrets. Bucky just comes in and say, hey, the Wakandas are here, so we got 8 hours to figure out what we need with Zemo here. But this is an interesting conversation between Zemo and Sam in regards to having the serum and having, if you are taking the serum, you're only meant to go down a path of destruction, which they bring up the fact, and I love that the show puts so much respect on Captain America, but they bring up the fact that Steve, he was a good man. He was the best Captain America. He stood for what a hero stands for. As Zemo says, touche, but there's a reason why there's no other Steve in the mix, which they pan the camera over to Anthony Mackie as Sam. So, Amanda, this conversation here regarding the super soldiers, the path that they're destined to go on, Zemo preaching to the choir here?
I think every single scene involving Sam in this episode was super important for his development.
Yeah.
And the camera, there were framing choices that they would rest on him for too long for certain reasons, and it really worked. But I think this was the scene where Zemo asked him if he would take the serum. Am I correct in that, or was that afterwards? Yeah, it's this one.
Yeah.
So I think it was this one, but that was important because right off the bat, Sam's like, nope, not going to take it. I don't want to take it. I wouldn't take it. Whereas Steve, he didn't know what he was getting himself into, and it was a completely different time. So he kind of had to take it in the circumstances that he was in because he wanted to be a soldier.
Yeah.
So Sam, knowing this, is all about who he is on the inside, and that is what would, represent Cap in that way, and who he is and how he makes his decisions and all of that. So them kind of talking about the serum and the super soldiers, and Sam understanding what Zemo is talking about, but he still has his own mindset in regards to the serum.
It's a great point. And tossing to you, Chris, I think too, Zemo mentions that, on that path, you're a supremacist, that you're superior than, people below you, which will be interesting to we'll talk about that with John Walker, him taking the serum to be above the next person. But in regards to that conversation between, Sam and again, Steve Rogers wasn't corrupted, nor is Sam Wilson, or do you think he might take the serum at some point in time in the show, Mr. Chris?
I don't know why you wouldn't take it, because it's not like it changes your mentality. It's kind of like the mask. Hear me out. Jim Carrey put the mask on, and it's this dude just wants to fucking turn up, and then you give it to the bad guy, and then he does some wild shit. So I don't know why Sam is doubting himself for taking the serum, as if there's a chance. There's no history of that. There's no evidence that shows that it could go either way. It's it's not Thunder Force, or it's predisposed bad guys. That's my last time. But if I'm Sam, I would take the serum, and then to prove Zemo wrong, there could be another Steve. So I don't know if he's sold on that idea. And we see what happens later in the episode. We'll talk about it with John. What happens is exactly what you said. You said what happened.
Zach, man, your take on well, first and foremost, I think that there is no more serum, as we'll get to that scene with Zemo, but of course we know that we know of, and there's it's in people's blood. I don't know, can you have a blood fusion to one person to the next, which might play into how Lamar might come back at the next episode. But tossing to you, Zach, in regards to this conversation between Zemo and Sam about corruption, and Sam really kind of step up to the plate in regards to just being an earnest man.
This is what I'm talking about, is that there's intriguing character moments in every episode. And this is one of them. Even though, again, I feel like there's a lot going on in each episode, The saving graces are the performances, the themes, and these character moments that we get with one another. Now, does anyone know, does Sam get the super serum at all in the comics?
I'm not the biggest Captain America fan. I don't believe he does, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some iteration that he might have the serum, but I don't believe he does.
In the chat.
If Michael
yeah,
knows.
Mike, let us know in the chat, Mike, if he gets it or not. But I mean, of course, you know, they can do their own stories and whatnot, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he needs it. I think Sam, okay, Sam does not. Okay.
Right.
Sam doesn't need it. You know, the serum, and I think what it shows here is John Walker's trying to be Steve Rogers. But in reality, what you need to be is your own version of Captain America. And John Walker's being the worst version of Captain America you could possibly have. Not just that his nose looks fucking horrible in the mask, but just
also,
not
why are you wearing a mask?
Yeah, and Russell plays that role perfectly. Wyatt is incredible. Like, he is so good in there. Just the singular moments of him staring or looking, or the blood, like, again, that whole last set piece, he played it perfectly. But what we see here is the great parallels in this episode of what makes Sam a great Captain America. Because what does Steve Rogers do? He never resorts to violence unless he has to. And he always likes to have that discussion. And Sam's that same way. Karli's a girl. Like, Karli's a young kid, pretty much, you know? And honestly,
breaking news, water is wet.
She makes a lot of good reasons, man, for what she's doing. The world said, come help us. Come live. We have all these places. Let's rebuild together. Oh, everyone's back. Get the fuck out of my house. I pretty much. And I'm sure in her eyes, Thanos was a hero in some way, shape, or form.
Ways, I totally
so
agree with you, man.
It's an interesting thing. Do you guys know, though? Do we know if Zemo was blipped or not?
They haven't addressed that yet. I wish the Marvel put out like some type of website or a book of all the characters in the MCU. I think they did. I think they did it at one point. I don't know. We got to find it somewhere. But that's a great question, because to your point, I wonder like his mindset, if he's changed, because he seems, again, Zemo, we spent time with him in Civil War, but he was more obviously the villain in the film. We didn't get all these layers for him, but it's interesting to know if he was mentally changed being in the blip, or if he came back. So, but that's a great point. I don't know, man. I have to look it up.
Because that's what I'm still wondering is, like, who got blipped, who didn't.
Yeah.
Where, like, WandaVision, we kind of know who did.
Right.
And, at least the most important characters, but, like, Zemo's an important player. Sharon Carter, we can see, was not blipped at all.
Right, yeah. You can't set up this. I mean, she was Batwoman in this film, having a satellite, having goons to her disposal. I mean, Sharon was doing some things.
Freaking awesome, man. It's the most intriguing thing I've ever seen about her. I didn't care about her at all in any other time I ever saw her, but like I know
Amanda would say, I know you could attest to that.
She's like damn John Wick in these damn shows.
Pretty much, man.
But man, I really like this whole entire moment, and I think this is, again, I want more moments with Sam. Like, please, just Anthony Mackie is like, he came from 8 Mile to here, guys. Like,
up with that. Yeah, man, it's come a long way, man. But in regards to, we talked a little bit about Karli Morgenthau, and we get some really great stuff with this character. First and foremost, we see the ramifications of her actions and the Flash Smashers' actions last week with the GRC implementing this Patch Act, which essentially will restore the borderlines of the world. And again, like you mentioned, Chris, we went from banding together to now let's go back to normal, get out of my house, and then that nature and stuff of that, and not working together. And Karli obviously is upset by this because things are going back to normal. But again, this show is doing such a great job of giving us these kind of multi-layered, kind of great characters, because in my eyes, the best villains are the ones that think they're doing the right thing, as we can see with Thanos. And Karli thinks she's doing the right thing. And Sam even says that in this episode in regards to, it's just the means. It's the way about you're doing this by killing people, not getting the message out there right. But again, that moment, you can't go back from death. And she killed those men, and she also killed someone else in this episode that we'll talk about in a little bit. But the Flag Smashers, we'll get into more of Karli, but were the Flag Smashers working for you guys in this episode? And particularly, none of them have names, but the guy that talked to Karli at the grave, I thought that he was great, and we'll talk about his parallels of, I was a fan of Captain America and literally being killed by the new Cap. But is it just me, or the Flag Smashers were the most intriguing that they've been in this entire show so far? Starting with you, Amanda.
they were like episode 4. I'm like, finally, I can like kind of understand what they're, you know what I mean? Like finally. And I think because they didn't do that within the first 3 episodes, like I've said multiple times, I'm like, I don't really care that they're on screen. I really don't care. But it's just the fact that like they didn't grip us early on. So this 4th like episode, the fact that we're getting so much of them and that we're finally understanding what they're doing, and Karli speaking to Sam was like a huge moment that really made me like understand her more and respect what, like I kind of understand it now and I respect it in a way, not the way that she's doing it, like Sam says, but still. But it took too long to get there. So for me to actually care about them and say that I'm gonna like miss the Flag Smasher storyline, like when the series is done, like it's just not gonna happen for me because they took too long to get to this position.
Something you said, they should have had a because I kind of found it weird that Karli didn't go straight into combat when she saw Falcon. I feel like I wonder, because I know there's a lot of rumors that they cut out a lot of subplot with the Flag Smashers. I really wonder if they had an earlier conversation before, like in one of the earlier episodes.
Possibly.
And they cut it out due to that stuff that they had to. But I just, because it felt weird that like, oh, you guys aren't going to fight? Like, like he's fight or flight mode right now.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
It's very, and I'm glad that we didn't see them come to blows yet, because I don't think we'll get that great scene that we get at Danya's at funeral, which we'll get to, and then having that moment there. But kind of and catching up to a little bit of Karli here in a little bit. But before we get to that, we see Zemo and being the candy man in this episode, just giving out everyone these delights. But he gets the information from the little girl in regards to where the funeral is going to be held. He keeps the information as leverage, which I love. That Zemo's smart, man. He's using everything to his advantage because he does not want to go back to jail. But listen, man, Sam is he's Mr. Call somebody. He's always calling people. I know a person. I can get you out of this. It's like, Sam, hold on, man. We talked about last week. This man just has promises and just has the phone number to everybody. But he does give Sharon a call, which again, I just want to focus a little bit on Sharon Carter. I know we talked about the power broker last week. I don't think it's her, but Sharon, she has a lot of things to her disposal at her fingertips. The satellite, the goon, she can make calls, this person, that person. Are we theorizing? Are we suspecting Sharon to be involved in some type of power broker underneath the power broker, in association with the power broker, someone else entirely? Amanda, what's up with Sharon, man? She has, like I said, she's Batman in this episode.
Like, she's cool, I guess, in this series. Like, I have to
she's
say,
cool,
whatever. I guess, whatever. Like, fight choreo, great, whatever. But I do think that she's tied to someone. She's tied to someone because she was just so shady in the 3rd episode. So she's tied to someone. I do think.
Here we go.
No, Michael. No. I do think that if they're going to twist something, this is like so far-fetched though. I do think that she will have a hand in maybe killing John Walker if they're not going to use him in the future. This is so far-fetched. Just because she does kill Captain America in the comics, this would be the opportune moment to kind of use that storyline. So I don't know if that's going to go there.
I mean, they can, and not even in the show, but that can be a future, in a movie or so, if he does, end up becoming a U.S. agent and whatever the case may be with the character. So
and
like point there. And twist it, definitely. Chris, man, Sharon, man, she's sneaky, man. Is any feelings about this character being someone attached to the power broker potentially?
I mean, I think she's connected to the power broker in a bad way, and I think that the Marvel has given us just enough to not really care whether she's good or bad.
Yeah.
There's also like a 15% part of me that's like, maybe she's like undercover working for the power broker to try to do good. But I mean, that's like a good point. There's always like a movie angle there. But I don't think we've ever had enough connection to Sharon to really care.
I agree.
Like I had to rewatch Winter Soldier like last week just to like remind myself like where she came from. Like, why do I care about this woman?
Yeah,
I still don't care. Amanda just don't want her talking to her man, but that's different. That's
facts.
I don't got the problem. But I think we'll see where it goes. But right now, if I had to bet, I would say various.
Tossing to you, Zach. Throwing a theory out there. We got a scroll in WandaVision. We had a scroll in Loki's trailer. We have Secret Invasions. Is Sharon Carter potentially a scroll? Maybe.
You know, a good secret invasion. I'm sure she will. Like, but I will say this, man. Please don't be a power broker. I mean, she's gonna. You can't add another character, or in a sense, you can't. Well, actually, let me say this. Okay, so there's that rumor going. Well, not even a rumor; it's confirmed. There's some big cameo next week. There's some big cameo going next week. Mm-hmm. I think it's Florence Pugh. I think it's Florence Pugh's character. I think there's a reason that they wanted Black Widow, but from what my friend told me is it's not a character we've seen before, but it's an actor, and the actor is the big cameo, not the character.
Character.
Yeah.
So the power broker could be fucking Robert De Niro for all I know. But and again, that would be kind of baffling. I take a double take. I'm like, really? Like that? But who knows? Whoever this power broker is could be a major player in the future. Because what has this show done? Setup.
Yeah.
Setup. That's what the show's done. And almost every Marvel film has setup. I mean, every Marvel thing has setup. It just depends how you do it. So it's interesting. But I hope she's not the power broker. I do hope it's. But then at the same time, I kind of do hope it is her, because at the same time, like, I don't want another character in here. Like, I don't want another character. I saw some people saying maybe it's General Ross. That would make no sense to me at all if it was General Ross. So I've seen some people say Zemo. I don't see Zemo being it because he was in prison for so long.
Yeah, it's going to be a character, and that's actually something on the docket that we'll get to in regards to closer to the end, in regards to this rumor out there, who the power broker could be, who this cameo can be. But Sharon, she's up to something in regards to some connections to the power broker, and she has her own empire. But I mean, she had to shake the hand and make a deal with the devil.
This is an actual character, right?
The power broker?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was in the comics. Oh.
Curtis Jackson, I think, is the character's name, and they had ties to Carl Maldus, the mad scientist and whatnot. So I don't know if they'll go that route. I think they'll kind of remix the character just to give that extra fluff. But yeah, it'll be, again, we'll get to that in regards to that cameo who that could be.
Please don't be stranded.
I hope they don't play that route. But we spoke about Karli a couple times, and I really want to hone it in regards to this character, because I think that this was she really kind of worked for me in this episode in regards to just the conversation she had, and one of the biggest things for me for this character is when the gentleman tells her that you're Captain America to me. You represent who we are. You represent the struggle that we've been through, which I think is something that really interesting to kind of see, again, the perspective of these characters in regards to how they're viewed and their perception of things. And Captain America, just in a different light. She doesn't need a shield. She just represents the people. Starting with you, Amanda, this conversation that they have at this graveyard in regards to how Karli's being viewed as Captain America.
I mean, I think, like, I understand what she's saying. I understand the whole conversation, because someone needs to be a leader to them, even if they, like, that certain group of people think that they're doing the right thing. There's going to be a leader that emerges eventually. So I completely get it. Again, this scene, like, didn't really do much for me, but I get what she's saying. I get that you need someone who knows the people and fight for the little guy. That's what Steve has done since the beginning, right? He always fights for the little guy. So I understand where this mentality is coming from. I get it from Karli, and she's also fighting for her people. So it makes complete sense.
And it's interesting too, tossing to you, Chris, she wanted to make more super soldiers with the rest of those vials. Again, decision-wise, to add more super soldiers, obviously would piss Zemo off. But in regards to her leadership skills, man, do you see this leader being, Captain America in the Flag Smasher's eyes?
Yeah, I thought it was weird that they said that to her, like, especially if she's willing to, like, kill innocent people, like, just because, like, you're really more like Thanos, to be honest. But every time I see a Flag Smasher not named Karli, I just think it's the same person over and over. I just don't care.
It's true.
Pretty much.
It's true.
I don't care about anyone else besides Karli. So that's where I'm at.
Zach, man, your take on this? Yeah, exactly. They literally have no name, so I don't care. The only I will say this episode, seeing him talking about how he was a fan of Captain America and being killed by Captain America, and that moment of him being at the steps was better than the guy that sacrificed like 2 weeks ago.
You know what though? Imagine if it was the reverse. Karli saying she loves Captain America, how she looked up to Captain America, and then all this stuff happening, and then
No, she wants
Say
to kill
she
Captain
died.
America.
Her died.
Yeah.
I think this show would work better if Karli was on her own and she was the only super
I agree.
soldier.
We said
And
that
if
last
other
week. Yeah,
people were just
Yeah.
henchmen or in a
Yeah.
sense people
Just
that she's
pick-
bringing
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I think that would work better because I think the comics, the Flag Smasher is just one person.
yeah, just
So,
one individual.
Yeah.
I
followers.
wish they would do that with Karli because I think that would have made more sense. They're trying to make us care about this dude, that other dude who sacrificed his life like 2 episodes ago. Like,
No
Yeah,
one cares.
no
And
one
there's one
cares.
thing
Yeah.
too, like to Zach's point, like if Karli was a big Captain America fan, right? Like idolized dude, posters and all that.
Mhm.
Then she sees like Sokovia, all these like in the Sokovia Accords, like Cap and his people killing people, not on purpose, but by accident. Then she says, "Oh well," and Captain says, "You know, I don't want to listen to the rules. Anyway, we did this, and I still don't want to listen to the rules. And I'm rocking with Wanda, and I'm rocking with Bucky, and all that." Then she would say, "Well, Captain America is killing people, like for the greater good. Like these are just people that are just casualties, like a part of war, like you know." So then it's like, okay, she's just misconstruing, and then Captain has to come in through by way of Sam to kind of explain, and that would make more sense than for me
we
having
should have
to
wrote
care
this.
about these
We should
random
have
dudes.
wrote this show. We should have wrote it.
Writers meeting after this.
It
Yeah.
would be
Right.
23 episodes. And
We're gonna make
2
a
hours
CW
long.
type show that long. It's gonna get
Yes.
4 seasons. And then Mackie gets a movie in between each season, definitely.
Yes. I love this idea.
That's a great point you guys bring up in regards to her motives, because again, even in this episode, we still don't know where she comes from. We know the Danya lady was a surrogate mom of sorts and kind of took on a bunch of people, but that is a pretty interesting way to kind of look at it in regards to her being, and who knows, maybe that is something they reveal, next week in regards to Captain America and her story and where she comes from regarding with the Shield, because it's a really interesting line in regards to the legacy going longer than the Shield, because now the legacy of the Shield after this episode is definitely tarnished. So really interesting stuff there with Karli. But I thought that in another scene that we'll get to a little bit later with Erin Kellyman, I thought she killed in this episode. And again, I totally agree with you, Zach. And I think that the Flag Smashers are just disposable, but the main key, the main player at hand is definitely Karli. And I think she's been doing a really, really solid job. And it's really interesting about perspective, about how other people can view people as she mentions, as revolutionary or terrorist. It just depends on what side of the fence you lie on. So she's a really interesting character. And she's definitely working more so than what they were trying to do with Hayward in WandaVision. I can see her motives being a little bit more clear and concise versus what they did with Hayward just being a villain at the end of the day.
Was he a villain though? He was just trying to help the world. I mean,
the pointing the guns at the kids and all that, it's like, come on, this guy, even though they're fake, but they crossed the line. Yeah. So, but I think that this is definitely kind of showing more of the complexity.
He's just not a kid.
He doesn't like made up kids that aren't made into reality, so he just wants to take them off the board. But
that's what it is.
And we're gonna that'll be interesting to see when we get Hayward back in the mix next film or show, if he ever comes back into the MCU, which I think he will. But going back into moving forward from that conversation that Karli has, we see John Walker. This is when we're gonna get into the John Walker stuff here in regards to him getting into the mix, catching up with Sam and Bucky, with his friend Battlestar, who we'll talk about, and having this moment between those two, having him just inserting himself. He is very much so an authoritative figure in regards to, he can be viewed as the police in this situation. He comes in just bursting, showing his badge. You know who I am last week. And by the way, me saying all this stuff, I'm loving what Wyatt Russell is doing. Again, the stuff of hearing him getting death threats, like, people are so stupid. He's so great in the role, and obviously cut from a cloth of his dad there. But I thought the stuff we got with him was so great. But seeing Sam, and someone mentioned in chat earlier, seeing again him being such a Captain America in this film, the first time we meet him in Winter Soldier, being a counselor for veterans, and him going back to that well and having the conversation with Karli in that scene. Some really great stuff. And by the way, I don't know if it was just me, but were you guys thinking that when we see the impatient nature that Paul had or John had in this episode, did you guys think that he already had took the serum at that point? Because he was being very kind of, I don't know, he was being kind of like a crackhead in the episode. He was being so impatient. And like,
he didn't have it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. At that, when I was watching the episode, like, is he already on the serum? Because this dude is like tweaking out at this point, being so impatient.
But I think it goes to show that the serum doesn't do anything.
Yeah, besides
it's just you. It's literally just you. Like, he's just a dick. He's like, I remember when he first got shown, everyone was like, "Oh, he's gonna be a racist." No, he's literally just a dick. Like, he's just a fucking asshole. But
100%.
he literally is trying so hard to be Steve Rogers.
Yep.
And like, you're not. And dude, this whole entire episode, I'm like, I love when Bucky pushed him back. And I wish, I know what Bucky got worried for a second, because it's like, okay, it has been a while, but like, Sam's okay. Like, you don't hear any fighting. You don't hear, but no, John Walker just, or what they could have done, snuck up. They could have snuck up, saying, "How's it going?" But no, John wants to be the hero.
In there, man. He's again. He wanted to be the hero and putting his getting into people's conversations and really kind of mushed up the stuff.
Not to mention, that's a super soldier, John Walker. You're regular.
Yep.
What are you gonna? Sam's regular. What are y'all regular people gonna do?
Yep.
If Bucky doesn't want to go in there, y'all just as good as letting him rock.
But I will say, dude, shout out to Zemo, pulls the gun out, boom, boom, boom. Like,
I love that Zemo's so assertive. He's on a mission. He wants to take out all the soldiers. I love that he's so
Zemo does not care. He goes, I want them all dead.
Yep.
That's it.
I love that they've kept that consistency from Civil War into this. But I think Chris touched on it earlier. One of the best scenes, and I totally agree with you there, Chris, if I'm not mistaken, I think you did say this earlier, that seeing the scene between Karli and Sam, to me, having Karli going against her counterparts in the Flash Smashers, those actors, nothing against their acting, I just didn't feel the same energy that she was giving them. But having someone like Anthony Mackie having this conversation, agreeing with her, but the means of doing so, of killing people, you're not going to get things accomplished if you're actually doing things in cold blood. So, Amanda, this scene here with Karli, how she views herself, again, just depends on what side of the fence you lie on between her being a terrorist and being a revolutionary, and all the conversations they had. Was this one of your favorite moments in the episode, this conversation with you two?
I'm actually embarrassed to say this, but like, I started tearing up with this scene because of like, I love them so much. Like, I cry. Okay, because of the way they wrote Sam in this scene. The way he presented himself in this episode, even going back to what happened with John Walker, he's calm, cool, collected. He's not going to fight you unless he actually has to, and he would prefer to have a conversation. So even when they were in the middle of the funeral, Sam, so chill, literally just stepped to the side of the window, made that eye contact, and he's like, we're going to have a nice discussion after this. And like, that's it. And she knew.
Such a great point, Amanda.
Right?
Because he didn't bust in there like John Walker. He let her finish her speech, which was a great speech, by the way, and one people, one power. But I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was such a great point you made. He did the complete opposite of what John did.
It's a total opposite, and you see that. Sorry, Zach, if you're gonna.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, like, if Walker didn't bust in, I'm not saying the show would be over,
right?
Yeah,
but I feel like there would have been more to it. Like I don't know, man. It's just
you're right.
He everything.
He does, and he's meant to do that. I get that, but just to see the contrast between the way Sam is going to deliver this message, the way John's going to deliver this message, and it made me emotional because, like, the parallels to Steve is like, that's why they were so close, and that's why they understood each other, and that's why Steve chose Sam, and you saw it more and more in this episode. Even just the way John Walker would hold the shield. The stress, and like, that's so specific. It's so specific that I said that because he's using it just to break shit. He doesn't care.
Weapon.
Exactly. And like, Steve, even sneaking around and going to places, he had the shield to like cover him, and it was like stealth mode for him. Right. Whereas John is just like, he doesn't even know how to hold the gun. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He didn't know how to hold the gun and the shield at the same time. He was going up the staircase. I was like, you look foolish. You don't deserve that.
Why? I thought you were Captain America.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So the whole thing, but this scene, sorry, I just like went on a freaking.
I love it.
But with Sam, it's just this whole scene made me respect Karli a bit more. They were at the 100%. Same, like, even Sam brings it to a level where like, I'm going to understand you, and I'm gonna like literally try to walk you through this and not make you do certain things. And he also referenced her as a kid. Which is the same thing that Steve did to Wanda in Civil War. It was the exact same situation. If you're going to parallel that,
she's a kid.
Yeah, literally. And that's why it's like with kids, with younger, like the younger generation, it's better to have a conversation than going guns a-blazing, even though she's a super soldier. So you can't forget that they're not humans. You know what I mean? They're still human with the same like mind, but they just have this wicked strength. So,
but now there's no conversational piece anymore. Now she's just,
right. She's
especially at the end of the episode. I mean, now she's gung ho. But now it's like, how do Sam and Bucky feel about it too? Like everyone's faces at the end were a big thing, and I think I'm interested to see what they do with Karli. I think she's more of an interesting character, and I wish they would have started this earlier with her.
Yep.
I hope they, very similar to WandaVision with Agatha Harkness, I hope they keep Karli on the playing field for future seasons, popping up in a Young Avengers show or whatever the case may be. Maybe she can team up, but that would be a interesting character way, her being a part of a team that's fighting for the good without killing people. So that'll be interesting. I hope they keep her on the path, because first off, she's a great up and coming actress. She has a relationship already with Disney, with Han Solo, and now this. So her future's looking bright. But Chris, man, your take on this one-on-one scene, Sam going back to his old bags and talking to people, and again, not going in there fist swinging, have his wings on. He comes there, no regular clothes, having a conversation with Karli Morgenthau.
Yeah, so this is a live stream. It's being recorded. This is a moment where I thought Anthony Mackie is a normal human being. This is it. Like, this is
go, ladies and gentlemen.
You don't gotta try to be funny, because you're not. You don't gotta try to be like a superhero because you're really not. Like, you're like, this is how we met you in the Winter Soldier. We met you just because you were
superpower.
You said come down to the VA, made me look cool in front of the girl. You was a regular. That's where I was with you at. So this scene, I was like, look, this is normal. He didn't try to drop no Marvin Gaye jokes, none of that. So I was all about this scene. The only problem I have about this scene is that these people are literally talking 6 feet away from a dead woman. Like, y'all couldn't just shift to the next room. Like, they shift. I'm like, the girl's still there, just rotting away. Like, that, you don't need to show me that. But besides that, I knew John Walker was gonna mess this up, just like Zach said. I was just waiting for that moment. I was getting so tight that I knew it was gonna happen. Then when it happened, I was even tighter. That Bucky didn't just stop him, just punch him in the face, something like that. But the scene humanized Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, y'all already like Sam, but that was like, this is a good moment for this dude, and he really was getting through her, which is like the craziest thing to try to do. You said you're gonna do this, and you actually did this, so it was great.
It's a great point you make there, man. And like you said, Sam, this is his superpower, man. He doesn't have to, have the guns blazing, the wings out. He can just talk to people. And I think that's what a Captain America would do, kind of de-escalate the situation, go in and have a conversation versus, again, as we're going to get to, John Walker just mucks it all up. And there was a scene also too, a line of dialogue, which I think kind of parallels to how this ends, when John tells Bucky, you're just going to let him go in there by yourself. You're not going to protect your partner. If something happens to him, there's blood on your hands. And obviously we know how that kind of plays out with how his best friend ends up. But kicking it to you, Zach, regarding seeing Sam going back to his old trick of the bags in regards to communicating with people and connecting with people.
Yeah, no, it was the best part that I think this whole entire show's done yet, and I hope we get more moments like this. I feel like the next 2 episodes are going to be a little bit more action heavy, though. Maybe start a little bit slow as like an epilogue to last week's episode or this week's episode, but we'll definitely see. I just, again, this is what I've been wanting. I want more that development with Mackie, showing him like this, and I hope they still don't make Karli a full-on villain, though, for the rest of the show, because I think, honestly, at this point, Walker is kind of the villain. I mean, he
easily.
Yeah, I the only thing is, I think Mackie should have gone in there, or Sam should have gone in there and said, "Hey, he's right out there. Let's leave. Let's go have a civil conversation somewhere else."
Maybe a little bit more honest.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing, is that she feels hurt. Is that, I get from her point of view. So who knows? Karli's an interesting character.
I mean, he did lie. He did say he was alone, but there was
not completely interesting all the way, but
no, I agree. But like I said, I think this is Captain America right in front of our eyes, guys. Just seeing him have that moment and having that one-on-one. But obviously, it's broken up because John comes in there talking about you're under arrest. Like, come on, John. And I love that she punches him. It's just like, just punch this guy in the face, sit him down. But we see they get kind of mixed up. We see Bucky chases after her. She makes her way to the basement area, which brings us into Zemo finding her and ultimately doing again. Zemo's on a mission. He takes out the serum. He shoots her and crushes all the vials except for one, which leaves Johnny Walker to find this vial. And let me backtrack a little bit. Is anyone, for like a split second, anyone think that Zemo was going to take the serum for like a hot second? The way he was looking at it, like I thought he was like,
I think he thought about it. I honestly think he looked at it and said, because the way I don't think he would have, but I think a thought had to have gone through Zemo's head, like I could literally take it.
Yep.
And my mission would be easier.
He would be so hard to take down. The muscles and the brains. Come on.
Yeah, Zemo would be the type of guy to honestly, once his mission's done, kill himself. I mean, that's flat out what he would do. He has nothing. If you really look, Zemo has this one mission. That's it. His family's dead. He's rich, but that's it. He has nothing else to live for but this mission. So
I'm glad that he didn't, though. Like, I thought he really would, and I was so happy that he did. And I was like, okay, thank you. This guy.
That would have ruined. That would have took away everything from Civil War. That would took away his mission from this episode if he would have took it. But like I said, for literally a split second, I was like, "Is he about to take this serum?" But Amanda, you're like, "No, he's Zemo sticking to it." If anything, he's gonna take the serum to be a better dancer because he's already crushing on the dance floor, so it just enhances his dance moves. But I'm glad he didn't take it. But I think we all kind of thought that eventually John was gonna either let himself be experimented on, be able to take the serum, but he just takes it for himself, as we'll talk about a little bit later. But I thought that, you know, seeing Zemo again, just the man, he says it to Sam and Bucky in this episode, very Thanos. You guys don't have the will to get the mission done. I know what it's going to take to get the mission done, because Sam obviously sees her as a young girl, someone that is, you know, needs some guidance. But Zemo, he's just coming there, guns of blazing. But again, to juxtapose this particular scene, going back to Sam being a true man, a good man, Zemo asks Sam after they have this encounter, if you were given the opportunity, would you have taken the serum? And just in a quick of a second, no. We talked about it earlier, him taking the serum. What would be the bad thing about it? Because he has the good morals. He wouldn't turn to a bad guy. Plus, we know this serum has been kind of perfected that you don't have any side effects. But I love, again, the decisiveness of Sam saying, no, I don't need the serum to be who I am, a superhero in his own eyes, and as well as the world. But Amanda, that decisive nature of Sam in that moment was pretty great.
He's amazing. I love him. You know how much I love him. And I said it before, like, I don't think that he wants to take it. I don't think he needs to take it, because he's approaching the Captain America in a totally different way, you know?
Right.
So it's not like it's a necessity for him to be a super soldier in order to show that strength, show that mentality. You know, we're seeing that as the show progresses. We just spoke about it. So I love that he knows what he wants, that what he sees post blip, that he understands the way society is, he understands the government, he understands all of that, and what the meaning of a hero is to the government at this point. If you're going to just give the shield to a random US agent and you don't understand what the person means and is behind the shield. So he sees all of that and he knows. And that's why I love it. He's just so on the nose with responding to Zemo in that way.
100%. Chris, man, how did you take in that decisive answer of no, I don't need the serum?
Yeah, you do, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
He has wings. He has wings, and he has red wings, which he's gonna make for him and another shield. So there you go.
What did Hawkeye's wife say when he went down to the cabin and you got Captain America in your Airbnb? You're not like these guys. These are that guy's a god outside. Yeah. So it's if you really want to play these games, you do need it. I respect you for your answer.
Yeah.
But if there was some adverse side effects to it, where you don't know if you're going to turn into a monster, then maybe. But what happened to Steve? You could be the next Steve. So don't be afraid of the moment, Samuel.
You full named him.
Zach, man, him being so decisive in that nature. It's a very Captain America thing. Again, we saw in the first Avenger in regards to the Doctor talking about the effects of it, just bringing out the true nature of yourself. I guess the question is, if you're Sam, why not take the serum and them if you had the opportunity?
I mean, I would have taken the serum. But
I would have too. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, but here's the thing: when we saw Steve Rogers, he was scrawny, skinny, not able to fight.
Yep.
So he took the serum. He went in to do the experiment.
Yep.
Honestly, John Walker didn't need it either. He just needs an attitude check. Sam, he don't need it either. I mean, he's fucking bigger than half the other people in the damn show. So, I mean, I died from looking at him. Seriously. So So it's just funny how it works, man. It's just funny how it works. But I love it. I love, again, the character moments is what makes me tune in every single week to this show. That's
100%.
It's those smaller moments. That's in WandaVision. My favorite stuff in WandaVision were the quieter moments. When I go see a
Avengers
movie,
compound.
yeah, when I go to the movies, honestly, my favorite stuff in Endgame was some of all that smaller stuff in the beginning and the whole epilogue of them dealing with the blip. Spider-Man Far From Home, some of the smaller stuff was my favorite things. Those smaller details are the things that I love about comic book films. Don't get me wrong, though. I do love when it gets into the action. So, but yeah.
No, Black Widow, Endgame. Talking to Endgame, Black Widow, Stark, and Banner in that room, figuring out that
sitting down, guys. There were 2 Infinity Stones in the same place at the same time.
Have you seen the deleted scene with Rocket Raccoon and them?
I don't think
it's funny. They're talking and Rocket's making fun of all of them, and Tony takes something that like a buzzer and buzzes all of his hair off in the background. And he looks and he goes, "Really?"
Yeah, I can't wait to see Rocket.
We're at the point, guys. I still can't. I remember watching Endgame. I'm like, God, we're at the point where a freaking talking raccoon, one of my favorite Marvel characters, is
Rocket the Raccoon is hanging out with the Avengers. You're so right, Zach. How far we have come in the
We're all standing up. Now what? We're all standing up.
Give me Rocket Raccoon the show, man. That's what I want.
Hey,
honestly,
if he makes it out of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, man. But you brought up a point, Zach, in regards to the quieter moments, but then you also said, don't get me wrong, I love the action. And my friend, we got a pretty badass action sequence. As again, John, he had a thing about just bursting in the doors in this episode. He bursts into their room. He talks about, you're under arrest, Zemo.
He's married, right?
Yeah, and that's another thing too. If they're gonna bring, I think her name was Sarah. I don't know if she'll come. Maybe she'll calm him down or something.
I'd be cheating on him. I'd be cheating on him with whatever's going on. So I wonder
that he'll go off the edge at that point. That's the final nail in the coffin. If that happens, it's
a power broker.
You're right. That's hilarious. But we see John coming in there talking about, I'm going to arrest Zemo. And we get some characters coming to the mix and handle the damn thing. And that is Dora Milaje. Him feeling so superior. He goes and he introduces himself to Ayo and says, "Hi, I'm John Walker, Captain America," like a police would, in regards to just kind of putting his name out there again. Not, I'm just, I'm John Walker. How can we handle this? He makes fun of their weapons. Oh, put your sticks down again. He was just so like above people in this scene. But speaking of this scene, I mean, come on, this has to be so, seeing the Dora Milaje in action. And I know, you mentioned on your Twitter the other day, Amanda, regarding the moment where we see Sam and Bucky saying, "You're doing great there, John." Ass kicked, and also Battlestar. I mean, my man's is just like is dead, and we'll see. But he has nothing to do with that moment. We see Bucky get into the mix. Sam trying to help him out, but I love that Ayo disables that arm that we've been talking about for the longest. Like, what are you gonna do with that arm, Bucky? He gets it disabled. But more importantly, in this scene, we see John Walker lose his ego. He literally loses the ego in this moment because he gets beaten by people that aren't. To be fair, there's a Dora Milaje, but they're not even super soldiers. He gets defeated. His ego is defeated. Zemo, in the meantime, he escapes. There was a really cool post I saw on Instagram today showing the parallels of Civil War, of when Cap and Iron Man fought and Zemo kind of got away, and it's kind of paralleling to this with them fighting the room, and he's able to get away in that moment. But Amanda, your take on this incredible Dora Milaje just waxing people left and right in this scene?
First of all, I kind of wanted her to respond the same way T'Challa did in Civil War, whereas Hawkeye was like, "Hi, I'm Hawkeye. Nice to meet you." And then he's like, "I do not care." I'm like, I was waiting. I'm like, why did they not say it? It was just perfect. But I am so happy that he got his ass handed to him. Like, I was cheering them on. I was like, God bless. And then when Sam and Bucky got into the mix, I'm like, guys, you could have just sat down, had a drink in the corner, let them deal with it, and it would have been perfectly fine. So, like, why did you get in the mix? Why? But Bucky made me die of laughter. That was the funniest line delivery in the whole thing. It's like, you're doing great, and you're getting your ass beat. So it was such a great action scene. I was very happy. But yeah, he deserved what he got. He deserved what he got. I don't care that his ego was scarred. I really don't care.
Yeah.
It was perfection. It was perfection. And like the Dora, they're fantastic. They are such badasses. I adore them. And for like, honestly, if anyone had to just beat his ass that way, I'm so happy it was them. Yeah. I really am.
And before we toss it to you, Chris, there was a comment, man. I just want to know everyone's thought on this, but starting with you, Amanda. John, before all this happened, he comes up to Sam and says, hey, do you want to make it, what do you think this conversation is going to head? And he says, he puts the shield down as if he wants to fight Sam. So I just want to know it now. Starting with you, Amanda.
Yeah.
No super serum, no shield. Sam, no Falcon, no wings. Who wins in a one-on-one fight? John Walker, Sam Wilson. Amanda, take it away.
Sam Wilson would beat his ass. Okay, he went head to head with freaking what's his name? I forgot his name. Crossbones. He went head to head with Frank Grillo. But he still beat his ass. He still beat his ass. Doesn't matter. He still beat him.
That building beat his ass more so than Sam.
I understand that, but still, like you still went toe to toe. What's important is that you're still fighting and you still get up and you still fight. So even if like Sam kind of just, I know that Chris is ready to say that freaking John Walker would beat his ass, and I know that, but I do think that Sam would beat him because he would keep going, even if he like fell down. Like
I
Steve,
can do this all day.
I can do this all day.
And Sam would totally do it.
So we got one for Sam.
The only one for Sam.
Chris, man, who's winning this battle royale? No weapons, no shield, no wings. Who's winning that fight, man?
First of all, Steve can do this all day, not fucking Sam.
Sam's gonna be calling someone on the phone because he's always calling.
Hey, exactly. Like
calling 911.
Get me out of here.
He's gonna be calling Bruce Banner and And I would pick John Walker, but I don't think it's like, oh, he's gonna beat his ass. Like I think it's a good matchup. I think he's bigger. He's obviously well trained. He's doing hand-to-hand combat. And let's say like if Mackie's training is more through flight, and this dude maybe he was more on the front lines, John like he might have seen some things.
Right.
I always boiled it down to if it's like a close matchup, it's like whose motive is greater, like whose pride is more at risk, is like who's more at stake, I should say. Then you might get the edge. So like I'm picking John Walker, but not like, oh, he's going to embarrass him. But I'm just picking him because like I feel like he's been more well trained.
Tossing it to you, Zach. Who's winning this fight before we get back into the conversation with Dora Milaje, man?
It's whoever the writers want to win. So if it's Marvel, I'm gonna say probably Sam, but I would be on Sam, man. I don't know, man. If I watched them both, like if they were both in my room right now and I was looking at both of them, I'd probably say Anthony Mackie's gonna kick his fucking ass. Like Wyatt Russell's a good boy, but like it's fucking Mackie, dude. Don't forget that
scene at Good Morning America when they showed them highlights and he's slinging that shield.
That's where I'm at, man. Yeah. But go ahead, Zach. Yeah, you think you get Sam taking the battle, taking that fight?
Sam will beat his ass. The second he breaks his fucking nose, he's gonna cry. I hope they do fight. They gotta.
I think
fight,
they will.
right?
I think they honestly will.
I think Bucky's gonna fight him first, though.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I think next episode we get Bucky.
I think Bucky's gonna snap and be like, "Give me that goddamn shield right now! I'm tired of you."
So I'm gonna go ahead and make it a tie, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. No super serum, no shield, no wings. I think John Walker is gonna give it to Sam. I'm sorry because I'm right there with you, Amanda. Yeah, he went head to head with Crossbones, but if that building wouldn't have fell, I think Crossbones, which he was waxing Sam. Sam was on the ground. Help! Where's the top? Where y'all at? Helicopter.
But he didn't have his training then.
It's been years. We don't know what they were doing.
Wasn't even Spider-Man cooking him like Spider-Man?
Ant-Man gave him the business, man.
And now you're just being mean, man.
Ant-Man, big, small, tiny, it don't matter.
Man, he was small and he gave it to Sam. I love Sam, but I think John's getting that battle, man. But let us know in the chat, guys. I want to know who's winning that fight. No super serum, no shield. Sam versus John Walker. Let us know. But going back to you, Chris, regarding that Dora Milaje moment, man, was it badass or what?
Yeah, I mentioned in the beginning, this is the best part of the season so far. I believe that I want to just put it out there. I think this might be the best scene out of any of the shows. Wanda, Loki, Falcon. I feel like this scene is just, I mean, bringing in Wakanda is kind of like I don't know if it's a cheat code, but it's like, all right, like, it's like you put Wakanda on anything that we gonna love it. But I also feel like they didn't do it cheaply. Like they didn't just bring them in just to get like the ratings from the people who are big Black Panther fans. I think they did it in a smart way. It was well thought out. But that scene was crazy. Him doing the contra code on the arm, and then like,
Kill
she
Bill.
doing?
That was the
Tickling him?
5
I was like, what's she
so
doing? And then the thing, I was like, nah, that's crazy. And then the craziest part was kicking the shield up and about to take it out, just how Cap did. And in Winter Soldier, I said, "Oh no,
she should be fucking Captain America."
He's doing
should
the
have took that
kickflip.
shield. Yeah.
And then she said, "Leave it. Like we don't even need that. Like yo, let them have their little toy. Like we off that." Like I was like, "This is elite." I was talking out loud to the TV.
Yeah,
same here, man.
Fucking midnight, and I'm screaming my head off.
Bro.
Zach, man, what's up, man? What's up with the Dora Milaje? They should have took that shield, dude. They should have took the shield with them. I think. In that
I'm
moment,
sharing my
the way.
screen right now. Can you please show this? Because this is my exact thoughts. This is exactly what I thought, guys. Was this exactly with the Bucky? I'm not joking. I almost like pissed my pants laughing because that was the first thing I thought of. I was like,
That's
oh,
hilarious.
Miss Nesbitt from Buzz Lightyear. No, it was a great moment, man. I honestly, I just loved the whole fight scene. I think the Wakandans just killed it, nailed it, everything of that nature. And just seeing John Walker get his ass handed to him was fantastic. I mean, that was the best part. And we knew Zemo was going to escape. We fucking knew it. So he's trying to escape like 30 times throughout this whole time he's already come. So
he's literally Loki.
Yeah, pretty much. He's just that's his superpower. But in that moment, I don't know if you guys probably have seen Ice Cube's Friday. He's gonna cry in the car. Zemo, that's all John Walker was gonna do. He was gonna cry. He's like, they weren't even super soldiers, man. Let me help you out, man. I like, dude, this man's ego has been broken to the core. But again, like I said, to be fair, forget super soldiers.
Cheating on him, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I'm telling you, man, that's gonna be the breaking point.
You know what?
Right.
Do it.
He called his wife and was like, "Hey, honey, what you doing? Let me call you back."
That's how Mackie should get back at him. That's how Sam should get back.
Yes.
Go find his wife.
Yes.
And be like, "Look, I wouldn't have killed someone in public."
Yeah, that would be. That's the surprise twist. But I do want to quickly acknowledge the chat right quick. We had him on a couple weeks ago. B. Avery, Brandon Avery from Just My Opinion with the super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. As he kind of brings it in here in regards to best ass whooping in the life, screaming with joy. Yeah, Dora Milaje, that's someone I love this moment too. The Dora Milaje have jurisdiction, whatever we go. Like, come on, man. Wakanda again. I said it a couple months ago when we talked about that Wakanda show with Ryan Coogler. Give me a Dora Milaje on missions, going around the world, spy espionage type stuff. Maybe how you become a Dora Milaje. I need it, and I need it now.
Who do you think is the main character of that show?
Of the,
I think it's
M'Baku. Is it Shuri? Maybe.
Maybe after Black Panther 2, but I think right now M'Baku.
Which I still think they need to make the show before the movie, which I think might be an announcement later this year.
Well, the movie's next year.
That's what I'm saying. I think they need to go ahead and make that switching of the schedule of having that show be first before we get the movie. But what were you saying, Zach, in regards to who do you think is going to be the lead?
I think it's going to be Okoye and Ayoya. I think both of them will be the main leads of it. The way I view it also is like, I saw someone say, what if it's, I can't remember the love interest, but Lupita Nyong'o's character.
Nakia?
Yeah, I find it weird that she didn't even show up in Endgame.
Yeah, I mean, we know she's off doing her thing, right? Making the world a better place. So maybe we'll get her back. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that show. And I think there's several shows in the mix, so it might not just be the Wakanda show. I think they're going to have other spinoffs and things of that nature. But Amanda, do you have any take on who you would like to see lead the first Wakanda show?
I would say Okoye for sure.
Okoye?
I think that'd be really awesome to have her. And I think Michael said in the chat, an Agents of Wakanda series would be wicked too. Like as you said, so I think it would really, really be so badass.
Yeah.
To just have an entire series with the Dora Milaje, I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah. I totally agree. And also too, I would not be mad if it is my main man M'Baku. I would love to see him
He does not even keep his own father.
This is your king. Come on. I love
dude,
him.
I met him in person at Sundance. He was the nicest fucking guy I've ever met.
He seems so
in my
cool.
life,
Wilson,
dude.
dude
And he is a tall dude.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not that tall, but like this dude was like over everyone. I mean, walk into a room, I'm like, there he is.
There he is.
We all out to Sundance next year. We out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I would say this scene too kind of showed because Americans really the only people that say we got the jurisdiction everywhere. So it's like she's telling him no, our jurisdiction is where we be at. Like you're not the only country that could just do this because you think that you got the right idea. So
Yeah.
I thought it was cool for them to show like, hey, like it's not just about you guys. Like we do this.
100%. Zach, man, what's your take on that scene? And again, thanks, Brandon, for the super chat, my friend. But your take, Zach, on the Dora Milaje showing John Walker who exactly they are.
I mean, fucking good. Someone needs to teach him a damn lesson. He's that kid that never got a spanking. Like he's that kid that was never spanked, in trouble. He could have killed someone in high school, and they would have given him a medal of honor. Like that. That's the type of guy he is. So yeah, he's a fucking asshole. Let's just keep whooping his ass, you know.
Hey, he got it, man. And this was the, kind of moving on to the next scene. This was the moment where I think he got that reassurance when he's talking to Battlestar regarding, and again, this is paralleling to the first Captain America as they bring up what does power do you? It just gives you, and it makes you the person you really are. And he mentions, you have the 3 Medal of Honors, and they mentioned, which I would have loved. We talked about it on Griffin's show the other day. I would have loved to have seen that scene with them in Afghanistan, maybe at the beginning of this episode, to give us maybe a little bit more context. There is some issues rewatching episode and how they potentially are killing off Battlestar so quickly. Yeah. But I would have loved to have seen that bond ship of maybe Battlestar saving him in Afghanistan. And even if they were to kill him, as they, might do, having that moment of that paralleling of him saving, John and making it out that first time, but then obviously dying at the end of this episode. But just having that reassurance from best friend in regards to, man, if we would have had that serum, how many lives we would have saved? He takes the serum. Amanda, your take on this moment here of John Walker just getting that assurance that, I'm going to go ahead and take that extra step.
Honestly, him listing out everything that he's done, like it's his resume, and then saying, I should totally take the serum. Like in his mind, he's thinking this, like I should take the serum because I deserve it because I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. Steve never listed anything that he's ever done. Steve has never done that. Right. And for him to do that, it's like, I forgot the doctor's name, but Stanley Tucci's character in the first Avenger, first and foremost, like he literally said, like he points at his heart, you are a good, wholesome person. You're a good man. First and foremost, that's why the serum will work for you. Yeah. So we all know this. So seeing John Walker contemplate, like, I'm going to take the serum. We're all like, I was yelling at the screen. I'm like, no, dude, like this is not a good idea. It's not going to end well. Yeah. But going back to what you were saying with, showing Afghanistan and all of that, it would have worked if this freaking series was more than 6 episodes.
Yeah.
It could have been more like, not that I care that it's John centric. I wouldn't want that, but it would have worked just to know, like, even everything that he went through, because we're only like scratching the surface, right? Yeah. Him taking the serum was a choice that we all kind of yelled at the screen for. So yeah.
Imagine if they gave him his own show before this, like a 6-episode thing, and just shown him in the army, and then at the end that opportunity is given to him, then it kind of leads in the Falcon. I think it would have given us more depth. And honestly, you could have tied other things in there. You could have said Punisher was in there. You could have brought back John Bernthal and just slid him in there and said he was part of his crew.
That's a great point, man. I'm surprised that might, hell, with Disney's money right now, maybe even this animated process, maybe they can do like an animated mini short of some of these, kind of filling in the blanks. That would be pretty interesting. But a prelude to John Walker would have been an interesting concept. But Chris, man, your take on Mr. John Walker getting that insurance that, you know what, I'm going to have to juice up. I need the juice.
Yeah, a couple of things quickly here. One, I think if they showed these dudes in the army, we would like John Walker more, which I don't think anyone of us want to do. Because you have to think, like, this black dude, he's black, like, and he's down to be his co-pilot. Not only his co-pilot, but he's like co-signing him, he's gassing him up. He's not like, it's not like he doesn't want to be there. So like, this dude can't be all bad. So I would imagine the army is the army. So like, they're gonna make some questionable decisions all the time, just like the fucking Avengers do. So like, we would have just liked him more, which I don't know. I know Amanda wouldn't have wanted that. So let's be happy that we didn't get it. 2, I would say, this is like a regular friendship. Like, we always want that like justification or that like that, that that cosign. Like, like, should I do this?
Yep.
I really wish they showed him taking it. Like,
I was going to ask you that next. Yeah.
Because then I'm like, there's no side effects. Like, I got the fucking Johnson & Johnson. The shit
Karli said that their veins were burning for like days or hours once they took it. So,
But he also grew a beard within 2 episodes, within
Yeah.
like a couple of minutes of an episode. So
Well, the 5 o'clock shadow is more realistic than the fucking superheroes not giving you any side effects.
Keep in mind, we'll get back to that serum because maybe he didn't take all of it, and I don't think he did take all of it, which might speak to something a little bit later. But what were you saying in regards to Mr. John Walker here?
Yeah, so I really wanted to see that moment to see like if he was considering, if he's like, damn, should I do this? Like if I had that kind of moment to kind of just have him show up like that, it was like, damn, this is weird. But it's like the longer the show goes, like we forget like how he started on the show, like how he was like nervous to go outside, He was still just trying to do the best job that he could, and we were all like, damn, this dude's all right. It's just like a power trip thing, and that's like I was talking about the cops. Like most of these cops probably don't go outside trying to kill black people, but they get on these crazy power trips and they give them a badge and a gun, and they think that they go off the wall. So I think that's what we're seeing with John as each episode goes by. So I don't think at the core he is this evil dude, because I don't think Battlestar would really be rocking with him like that. He doesn't have to do this. So I think seeing more about him, we would just be more conflicted, which my brain can't handle right now.
It would have been interesting, and you bring up a good point in regards to, again, we'll get to it once we get to that last scene. But again, he was given the shield as Cap, earned the shield and earned the rights to be Captain America, and not handed it to him. Which again, I think speaks to Sam's reluctancy to take that shield, being handed the shield versus maybe feeling like he earned it. But going to you, Zach, regarding John needing that speech from his best buddy, man, taking that serum.
Yeah, Battlestar, dude. The fucking good angel on his damn shoulder. I mean, I think even him earlier in this episode when he was like, why don't you just let him go? Like, what's it hurt? Like, it's just like John Walker wants to get it done his way and my way.
Yeah.
Guess what, John? People don't like that. People don't like you. The only reason you're Captain America is because the American government said you could be. I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
It was a nice moment, but we all knew he was going to take it.
Yeah.
We all knew. And then the second they start going up that stairs and he threw that guy down, we all have the same reaction as Bucky. Oh, yeah, you took that. You took that. So
the juice. Hey, I totally, man. And also too quick, appreciate the love there, Michael. Yes, guys, we have over 47 people on the stream now. If you could do us a favor, give the video a thumbs up, share the video, continue the great conversation in the live chat. And of course, if you're watching us on the replay, if you can do the same, it'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, he gets the reassurance from his best friend and takes the advice of his sorts. And again, how many more lives would we have saved if we would have took the serum? And it's so interesting he says that line because John takes someone's life at the end of this episode. So going into kind of the pivotal moments of the rest of this episode, we see him take the serum. Again, I don't know how many times, I've lost count how many times he's burst into a door, he's burst into a room. He goes in with Lamar on this mission. Again, there's so many parallels to Captain America. This is literally the same shot from the first Avenger, Captain America's first film, of him going in and taking out the Nazis and all that stuff. So I love the parallels there. But as you guys had mentioned, first off, I don't know why Battlestar is going around the place getting himself kidnapped. Just kind of like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? But
like ninjas, man, grabbed him and ran.
Exactly, man. But we see his friend get captured. And I should actually rewind just a little bit because we do get a really interesting moment of seeing Karli once again playing the villain, but not really wanting to be the villain. She makes the call to Sam's sister, which I love that scene about the mascots. America doesn't care who, about my opinion. Who do I care? Takes on the shield, but having that conversation and making that threat to Sarah in regards to taking out the kids, making of it. That was I'm not gonna lie. I like the way that Erin kind of played that moment because as she hangs up the phone, you see it on her face. She didn't want to do that. She even says it to Sam. She's not gonna hurt Sarah. She just wants to see how important, where his mind is. But again, just going to that moment of seeing Lamar get taken, and we see that he now has the serum going through his veins. He is now a super soldier. So, Amanda, this is your number one enemy here. He's juiced up, taking on the serum. And I think when I noticed it is when he was like, he quieted down and he heard like a door slam, like I don't know how far away. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he got spidey senses. But Amanda, your take on Mr. John Walker being beefed up now?
First of all, Wyatt Russell, bone-chilling performance in this episode. Absolutely fantastic. In the second half of this, I was just in awe of what he brought to this character. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean I like it. Still appreciate what he's doing, right? But it's all about the framing on his face. There were like tilt ups. You saw like his eyes, like you could see this. He looked crazed. He looked different. And like you said, even his motions were different. His senses were altered. You could see the little things. And that is because of his fantastic performance. It's not even the fighting style. It's just the way that he presented that, right? But again, friggin' whoever saw him fighting, whether it be Bucky or Sam, they noticed. They picked up. And this was like the perfect moment for that to happen, for him to take the serum and then us seeing that. I don't really care that we didn't see him take the serum because you had the conversation. You had the vial presented. Showing him in action now is where you're like, shit, like this is the fight that we're going to see him like go haywire. And so oh man, Wyatt Russell, like just Jesus, this performance was incredible. Fantastic. Like fantastic. That's all I can say about it now. And then, I'm going to say that I cried later on in this episode. So anyways, I cried the whole
Yay!
It's so interesting you bring up who was it that saw that he took the serum. It is, in this shot, it was Sam that saw that he took it first, which is so interesting that Sam sees him in action with that serum. Like, what have you done? Again, going back to Sam saying earlier in the episode, no, I would have taken the serum. And we see, reasons why in regards to, sometimes having all that power gets to your head I don't think Sam would ever go to that levels. But tossing it to you, Chris, man, seeing Mr. John Walker, he's ready for action. Again, setting up the scene. He walks in there. When he throws that shield against the wall and it sticks in there, he like picks it up. He like moves his shoulder like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go now. I'm not going to get embarrassed again. But seeing your take on Mr. John Walker in action, man, John Walker 2.0.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the little shrug thing, that's LeBron James. So I already had PTSD from seeing that in the first place. So I was really tight. But it's interesting. I mean, Amanda hit it like, it's cool to see him like this. It's acted well. And the only reason I wanted to see him take the serum is just to see if he had any like reservations at all, like, or if he's just like, fuck it, I'm going in. But besides that, it was cool to see when the shield stuck in the wall. I didn't notice the ear thing. That's a good call out. But yeah, when the shield stuck in the wall, I'm like, is it supposed to stick like that? I don't know if he's supposed to really be doing that. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Now he got to go get that. Like, I thought it was a cool scene.
Totally agree, Zach, man. Seeing John Walker ready to take on some Flag Smashers because again, he lost round 1 on that truck a couple episodes ago, but now he's ready to go in action, man, fully juiced up.
I could have still kicked his ass, but it's a great moment, but still, it's a moment that you still want to punch him in the face. Like Wyatt Russell always has that face that you just want to punch really hard. Like, and he's a great actor, man. Ingrid Goes West. You want to punch him in the face for some reason. Overlord. I don't want to punch him in the face too. I mean, 22 Jump Street.
22 Jump Street.
You want to punch him in the face.
You don't want to punch him in 22 Jump Street.
I've been in the mood to watch that because of him.
Yeah, he's great, man. I think Marvel yet again knocking out of the park with Cassie, man. Whoever they just deserve. If there's an award, and to be fair to the DC, they cast out of the role. I just think that they have casted these characters so well, and Wyatt Russell I think is great. And even I know Michael brings up here, he hopes that and we'll get to that a little bit later in regards to the ending of the show, this episode. Making him the villain. We'll get into that topic, but I'll definitely keep that in mind, Michael, because I would love to get you guys' thoughts on how you would feel if he goes straight up villain in this show. But as we kind of wrap up the episode with yet another big action set piece, and this one was pretty critical because there were some stakes in the mix. We see, they find where the Flag Smashers are. We see Sam, we see Bucky, we see, beefed up John Walker. Karli's in the mix. This is their whole plan to get him cornered. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get Sam and Bucky off the way, but they wanted to corner him, wanted to kill him. Unfortunately, things did not play out that way, and we see a bunch of knives everywhere. But Mr. Lamar, you see his face, ladies and gentlemen. He's like, that's my friend. He takes the hit. He takes down Karli. And, it's so funny to watch that fight now, looking at it for the second time. It almost reminded me of Civil War, where I felt like our Avengers were kind of holding punches until someone actually got hurt, which was Rhodey in that case. And in this case, it is Lamar. So she punched the hell out of him. She hit him with that super soldier KO punch to the gut.
That was the Mortal Kombat punch, man.
Straight up more finish him. That was the finishing blow.
All from Tekken.
100%.
Yeah.
Amanda, when you saw that moment happen again, I'm not saying they were holding their punches, but I felt like no one in that room wanted to kill anyone. Like, I don't think any of the Flag Smashers, Sam, Bucky, they didn't want to kill the Flag Smashers. But as soon as Karli had her in her mind, because she wanted to kill John in that moment, she got interrupted, and we got a casualty. Your take on this moment here of seeing Mr. Lamar taking that. Again, we'll talk about the theories. Is he dead? But assuming that he's dead.
I think that, like, John just messed up everything, because I don't think it would have taken it to this point if he was just not involved in this fight scene. First of all, this action scene, wicked. Freaking the knife flips from Bucky, I was in heaven. I was like, this is fantastic. Sam got in there and he was just awesome too.
So great, like, right? He uses using all the his not to cut you off, but I thought he was great. Yeah,
like totally, like the wings blasters, he did like that like flip kick thing. I was like, yes, Sam, you go get him. Like, good job. But
that's my baby.
Literally is so bad. He didn't need to die. If he's dead, he didn't need to die, because John Walker was already like in the mindset where like, I'm just gonna go in guns a-blazing. I have the serum. I don't care who the hell is in my path. Literally, I think that if Karli was beating him to a pulp, I think that would have been enough to set him off. Instead of like Battlestar like dying, I think that would have been a better angle to go with, because also like he doesn't have a serum either. He's just there to back up like his boy basically. So it just didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, hopefully he is alive. It's just the fact that like John just continues to mess things up for everyone, and that's the point here.
I agree. And I mean, to dive a little bit deeper in the conversation, maybe, and starting with you, Chris, regarding, I know for a couple people I've spoken to, don't like the idea that, you know, Lamar, you know, a black character in the MCU literally was just propelled to push the narrative for John in the MCU. Again, if we're assuming he's dead, killing him off so early in the show, did that rub you a certain way, Chris? Or do you think that in regards to the story, it works within the narrative?
Yeah, I don't think that he's alive. So I know some people are still like theorizing about that. I don't think he's alive. They made it clear. And if they go back on that, that would be weird. I don't think they'll do that.
He did check his pulse. And I think, he was there for a while to see if he was alive or not.
Yeah, John Walker, he's also a fucking medical doctor now.
He's everything, man.
Just joking. You don't need your fucking doctorate to check someone's pulse. I know. No, I mean, I get the argument. I didn't think that at first. I mean, like, the MCU didn't have to cast a black person in the first place for this dude, and they didn't give him whack lines. They made him important. Sam is still the leader of the show. It's still Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So it's like, you know, I think the show is doing enough from like a diversity standpoint that I'm not going to take offense to this black guy dying who doesn't have any super strength and is not a leader in the show. So it's like I get why it had to happen. So I mean, I don't think you're an idiot if you think that it was, you know, kind of cheap or done in bad taste. But me personally, I didn't take any offense to it.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I do see the other side of it. I'm totally in the same camp with you, and would love to get your take on this, Zach, regarding how, you know, if you felt a certain way about how Marvel's maybe handled this or maybe mishandled it in some cases. But I do think I can see the other side of it. Like, yes, we don't. There's not that many blacks in the MCU, as we see there are more diversity happening. Again, Sam leading the show, Black Panther, and so on and so forth, Monica Rambeau, and the diversity is definitely happening in MCU. But to take him out, and we'll see. Again, I know you mentioned Chris.
Asgard.
Asgard, exactly. With him being dead, we'll get to my thoughts on that a little bit, but just tossing to you, Zach, regarding this moment, working to take on this finishing blow, saving his best friend, and really being that spark to really make him go off the edge.
Two things. I thought it was a little weird that he got kidnapped and then within like a couple minutes died.
Yeah.
You know, like I was like, I feel like it would have just been better to have either let them find his body dead or something of that nature. But I don't feel like you needed to kill him off. I get why they did it, to be more of a thing of like, oh, we kind of cared about him in a sense. But I feel like it just you could have killed a civilian, and I think John Walker would have blown
off the edge.
I think he was waiting for a moment to blow. And again, but we didn't really get many moments of them. Like, were they deployed together for the entire time? Did they work together all the time? Is this just something, you know, I don't know their relationship that strong. So, you know, the second he died though, I went, all right, yep, John's gonna,
Which I
someone
thought
up.
then maybe they would have written it so that him dying turned John to use the serum and said, all right, fuck that. They're killing us. We're regular. I need this now. Boom.
Which maybe would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, to play on that narrative, maybe that even goes to further into the character. Like even with his super serum, he wasn't even able to save his friend. So it goes against the serum doesn't do anything if you can't save the ones that's closest to you. So there is, a little bit of thought process of, is it going to do anything to help him out? But any other takes on that, Zach, regarding this moment here? Again, I totally agree with you, man. I wish we would have gotten the Afghanistan scene just to kind of make it hit a little bit. Because honestly, I'll be honest with you. When he died, I didn't really have an emotional connection to that. It was almost like literally the Flashmaster dying 2 weeks ago. It was sacrificing himself. Because we haven't spent time with Lamar. We know anything about his backstory. I think even, Michael brings it up regarding he's a pretty important character in the comics in regards to how he plays into the role and what he means to the MCU in the comics. And again, I think they could still bring him back, and we'll get to that here in a second. But any other takes on this, Zach, regarding seeing Mr. Lamar taking that blow for his friend?
Wouldn't it be weird for them to bring him back? Because I swore Rhodey was going to die, and
that's where I was going to get. Yeah.
And from what I understand, Loki was supposed to die in Dark World, and then they went back.
Right. And Gamora died in Infinity War,
Loki died in Infinity War.
It's comics. No one ever stays dead.
No one dies. Give it 10 years. I guarantee you, Iron Man will come back in some capacity. If you tell me that Tony doesn't have some sort of thing in Ironheart, I'll be back.
It's some type of video or voice, something. Yeah, I would hope. Yeah.
But it's just something, man. I that's why, like, again, the themes and character stuff in this really good.
Yeah.
I just have issues with what they're doing with the story, and it's just like John Walker was just a piece of shit, anyways. Like, he's just an asshole. He's an aggressive guy, So you knew he was gonna snap eventually, and I get why they used this. It's the cookie cutter thing to make people feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally agree. And I think going back to that Civil War comparison, that it would have been maybe even more unique to keep again, assuming he is dead, but maybe going back to Rhodey being critically injured, which again could be something that Marvel might do in that moment. Because I thought in Civil War, like, oh snap, they just killed Rhodey. Obviously, we know that. And by the way, is Rhodey? I didn't even realize it when we saw him in this show, which I hope he comes back. Did he have his legs? That mechanical thing on his legs, or is he healed up?
He had pants on. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
I'm sure
because he gets his show.
Why? Yeah, because he's paralyzed, I think, from the waist down now.
Yeah,
right?
now he's walking around and hanging out with Sam and doing all this stuff. He has his own show, so no, but we'll see. And I guess as far as like this, in regards to Lamar, if they were to bring him back, if this again, I think John checked his pulse and he was dead, but this could be a way of if he's like literally the last breath. They take him to a hospital and they do a blood infusion, which is something that Marvel does with a particular character by the name of She-Hulk. So there could still be hope that Lamar can find a way back to the show. But if they do kill him off, it'll be interesting.
At this point, you already did it. Go full in on it. Stop.
Yeah. Don't go back on that. Yeah, because it takes a I agree. Which leads us to the final moments, ladies and gentlemen. We see, after his best friend's been killed, he goes full berserk mode. He jumps out of the window, very similar to Captain America in Civil War when he jumps or gets thrown out of the building in the beginning of the film. And we see the moment. He doesn't care who it is. He just wants blood. Obviously, he would have loved if that was Karli, but it wasn't. It was the guy that was a Captain America fan who remains nameless, at least Flag Smashers besides Karli. But we see them.
No one remembers it.
Yeah, right. Which, by the way, too, which makes me think that John didn't take the full serum. They weren't doing the super soldier run, right? Was that just mean that they weren't like running super? I know they were like in close quarters, but I was like, is he not fully souped up? That's true. But we see him. He catches up to the guy. The guy says it wasn't me. And as we all know how the scene plays out, he proceeds to take that shield and use it as a weapon. And as someone mentioned very early in the stream, this might be one of the darkest moments of the MCU. As the world is watching, Sam and Bucky sees what he's doing. The whole world. Karli sees what he does. He looks up and, everyone has their camera phones out and they see Captain America taking out this guy with the blood on the shield. Amanda, this moment here, they can take a guess. Did you
That's a
shed a
lot
tear?
of fun for PG-13.
I
I'm just
can't
saying.
look at the screen. I can't.
It's-
No, I'm joking.
That
But-
shield
Zack
is
Snyder
now
direct this
tarnished.
episode?
I know, right? Why'd you say that name? But Amanda, your take on Mr. John
Nice.
Walker completely losing it and killing, which we'll talk about. I've seen it on a line. You know, he killed a terrorist. He was in the combat, right? Is there anything there? I know you're not a John Walker fan, but is there a reason for him doing what he does?
It didn't need to escalate
Yeah.
to that point.
To
I
that
think
extent,
that's
yeah.
what it
I was
is. Like,
begging for his life.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
and if Steve were to have seen that, like he wouldn't have gone that far. He would have been like, okay, let's talk about it, like right off the bat, like or give him one like swift knockout punch. Not that he's gonna like completely kill him, right? Because the same shot, like we have to remember, like Steve did that to Tony in Civil War, the exact same shot with the shield.
Right.
He didn't go for his throat. He went for his arm after. Like it's completely different, right? So this scene entirely, this shot right here is one of the most traumatizing shots.
It is.
Like if you're a
With the kids to
diehard
bed.
Captain America fan,
that
like
shield.
this just haunts you. I can't look at that blood, like Zach said, like there's way too much on there. Like it is painted on. And the fact that everyone saw and everyone recorded, like it's too much. It's
Do you
literally
think
too much. And like
the
they
United
ruined.
States takes the shield away.
Sorry.
Well, we'll
The
get to
United
that.
States takes
Oh
the
yeah,
shield
we'll
away?
we'll get to you guys' thoughts on what you guys think
Yeah.
will happen to him next.
I would think so. I just think that in like 30 seconds, Zach said it before, like they just ruined the legacy. They tarnished it. It's not the same as it was. It's not like a wholesome symbol anymore because of the blood on the shield.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult to see this, but it's John Walker. So like I saw this coming. I knew he was going to snap, but it's just very unfortunate that it's that clear of a symbol right now. Like, it's the worst.
Hey, goodbye, Captain America. Hello, U.S. Agent. Chris, man, your take on this moment. It was pretty dark, man. Again, this is PG-13, but they weren't holding punches, man. And kudos to Marvel and Disney in particularly to go into that level because I love me some dark stuff. I love horror films and all that stuff. So I love that they went to that level of I thought I was watching an episode of The Boys or The Invincible of that matter, of that violent level to a certain extent.
Yeah, no, I agree with all the points there. It was dark. I don't know if I'm still like I still think Disney can push it a little. I don't know if I was surprised.
Chris wanted
like,
to see the head come off. He wanted to
like
see
I
Zack
didn't
Snyder
really
cut
because I
for
don't
sure.
want to see none of that. Like I don't want to see nothing gross. I don't really like any of that stuff. So
I
like,
think that's
I'm
as
like,
close as they could
I'm
get.
still
Yeah, I
like
agree.
doing all that. But I thought
It did chop
it
off
was
Thanos'
a
head,
realistic
though.
scene. Yeah,
Yeah.
And his arm.
I thought it was realistic. Like this is like all this could have happened. Like people outside would be filming this.
Yep.
He could go crazy. Some people would say he's Captain America. He should stop. But you lose control, and that's what cops
In
do.
the moment.
You see it all the time. This is very George Floyd. Like he's a cop. He doesn't. He knows he's being filmed, but he's in it. Like this is happening. Like I'm doing this. This is a conscious choice. So it's like it was a lot of different parallels.
A lot of
there.
parallels,
Like,
yeah, man.
This is very like this dude's on trial right now.
If Battlestar was alive, do you think he would have stopped him?
Probably. I mean, he wouldn't have a reason to try to kill this dude in the first place if Battlestar was alive.
Right.
He's just killing anyone that wears the thing. But then I think it'll go back to like the United States is going to be like the country won't really care, but they know how things optics look. So they're going to be like, fuck, like now we got to fucking get a new Captain America because they're going to be thinking that this is a big deal. Da da da. They're not going to want to do that, but they're going to be like they're going to be forced to. And then maybe Rhodey has a say like, hey, he has to give this up. Like while they want to say like if this is a combat, this is the day in battle, this is how thing is. But I've never been to the army, but I don't think they train you to kill this way or to neutralize your opponent this way. So we'll see how. I think episode 5, which the rumors say should be a very big episode, we'll have a lot to unpack. But very powerful moment for a Disney TV show.
I agree. I think you said it earlier too, Chris. This moment to me played a little bit more better as far as execution versus the scene with Sam being pulled over or being questioned by the police. This had a little bit more like it felt a little bit more organically speaking. But Zach, man, twofold. Your thoughts on the scene, the bloody nature, the brutality of this, and then the other question to you brought up earlier: will Captain America get off the hook, or will they take the shield?
I mean, if it's the United States we live in, I'll probably be given off the hook. But
Probably given a
with
medal
that
of
said,
that.
honestly, I don't know how you let him keep it.
Yeah.
I don't think he goes back. I think he runs out and just is on his own now, doing his own
Or
thing.
rogue.
Yeah, in a sense. And I think what it's going to kind of come down to, I feel like his ideology will be, okay, well, if I catch Karli, it'll be all okay. You know what I mean? Like, if I stop
Great point.
this,
Get the mission
I
done.
get Zemo, if I do this, everyone will forgive me. Everyone will forget what I did. I can't see them. I can't see, like, I don't, it's interesting. And I think that's where now this show is, I don't want to say interesting because there's interesting stuff about it, but it's piqued my interest now. Like, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. And I feel like this is something that should have happened last week, or episode 3. I think this is an episode that should have hit last week, and we could have combined 3 and 4 together. Well, maybe you could have combined 1 and 2 together, had 3 do its own standalone thing, add a little bit more depth to it, and then this be the 3rd episode. So, you know, it's interesting. It's definitely one of the best moments, though, I think, with it all, and I think it adds as a great epilogue to the entire Captain America saga that we saw beforehand.
Well said, man. And then, man, I don't think I got a chance to ask you in regards to your predictions on will the government cover for John Walker? As you know, as Michael's bringing up in the chat now, Fox News, this was a terrorist. He did the job. You know, he had to take him out. His companion was just killed. The matter of that, you know, so at that point, it's almost like guns are drawn. You know, ask questions later. Or do you think the government will take that shield?
No, I agree with Michael, because guess what? They chose him as Captain America, so they have to defend their choice. Period.
Want pie
That's
on
it.
their face. Yeah,
that's their choice. So they're definitely exactly.
Yeah.
No matter what we do, Americans have fought in a shit ton of wars.
Yeah.
That shit is not on TV. Like, we don't see this on TV. We just know they're out there doing whatever crazy shit they're doing. But like, you have to think, like, if this is real life and like the whole country is like seeing this, like not no matter how they spin it, it's like, hey, that guy did this on camera. Like that guy was helpless. He's a terrorist, but he's not like this guy he's not armed. Like, I'm just watching the TV. It looks crazy.
I had someone comment on my review saying, "Well, Black Panther almost did it." I'm like, that's the thing. He almost did it. And it would have been the same thing because the thing is, those people don't know who that guy is.
Right.
And honestly, the public knows who Karli is. They don't know who he is. It's the same thing. If Black Panther would have killed Claw, they don't know on that perspective who it is. It's just Black Panther just killed someone.
Right.
Yeah.
Here it is. Captain America just killed someone.
Right.
And the image of the blood all over the shield kind of parallels back to when we came over and killed everyone and took over the United States, you know?
Yeah.
There's blood on
blood
that
on
flag.
the hands,
It's
blood in the history books.
Crazy.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with you. And to that point of T'Challa, he held back twice. You know, he could have killed Zemo in Civil War, but he had enough constraint to not do that. You know, that's what makes him a hero. And it's like you just mentioned in Black Panther, Okoye, they're watching. So, you know, he clicked in like, okay, you know, I don't need to murder this man to get my point across. So he went over that line. And I think, you know, as far as going back to that question, I think he's going to get off next week. But I think, again, this is showing the layers of the character. I think John might actually willingly give up the shield and go, like you mentioned, Zach, to put a little spin to it. He's going to go rogue. He doesn't want the shield to go on this maybe mission. And maybe he gets recruited by a General Ross of some takes, and he has his own mission.
I was doing a little bit of research on who the power broker could be and who has led the Thunderbolts. Justin Hammer.
Oh,
I would love that.
Sam Rockwell's
Bring him
big
back.
Actor. That would be one that comes up.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while. So it was him. And then Ren threw out this crazy idea earlier this morning. I don't think it'll happen. Because in the comics, there's 3 leaders of the Thunderbolts. There's General Ross, there's Justin Hammer, and at one point there's Norman Osborn. Do they want to? There's rumors that this show connects to Spider-Man, and there's rumors that this show connects to Black Widow. I don't know what's true. I don't know which one or what other way.
Yeah.
Just if the power broker's that size, okay. I can get in on that. But yeah, it's just something I wanted to bring up. So
No, I appreciate the nugget there, man. It does beg a lot of questions in regards to when we get that reveal. But everyone in the chat, let us know your take on John Walker, his future as Captain America. Will he still be Cap next week, or will he have that shield taken away from him, or will he willingly give up the shield and go on his own rogue mission to take on Karli and get his revenge for his best friend being taken out in that matter? So wrapping it up, ladies and gentlemen, starting with you, Amanda. Again, just general take on the episode. What's one of the biggest moments that worked for you, and then again, if you have any predictions for next week, which we'll get into it in a little bit here in regards to some of the stuff that Zach alluded to as far as rumors for next week's episode.
I thought this was like a fantastic episode. Everything that happened with John Walker, everything that happened with Sam, I thought they were so well written, both of them, for different reasons. Obviously, the moment between Karli and Sam will stay with me as a piece of Sam that he will become Captain America. I got emotional with that scene for sure. And then again, the blood on the shield, forever haunting. But one of my predictions is that Bucky is literally just going to go and beat his ass for this shield. I don't think he's going to give it up willingly because he doesn't know what he's doing anymore. Like, the serum kind of made him snap, made him lose control of himself. So I really do think it's going to come down to like Bucky just going, because he's like, if we saw his face looking at the shield all bloody, like he was distraught. Like, he was just so disappointed in what he did in the span of like 30 seconds. So if anyone's gonna go take that shield, it's gonna be Bucky. I don't think Sam's gonna go in and like fight him. I don't think that's what's gonna end up happening. But Bucky, out of that rage, I really do think it's gonna be him next episode.
Well said, Amanda. Chris, man, your take on this hour, potentially long episode. What's some of the stuff that you hope to see, and of course, your overall thoughts of this episode, man.
Yeah, well, first I think that I can't trust any time length on any episode based on what happened.
WandaVision's final episode, 4 hours long. Yeah,
longer than the Snyder Cut. But yeah, next week we're gonna have to deal with the backlash from our country on what John Walker did. We're gonna see what happens. Hopefully, maybe explore, Lamar's family. Like, if there's any people that we need to connect to make us even care more about this dude.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm not sure. Like I said, I read that in the trades, there's a big cameo. We talked about it a little bit here, so it's interesting. I'll be interesting to see who that is or what character that is. Yeah. But like I said in the beginning, overall thoughts on this episode, easily my favorite one. A lot of that being Sam acting like a normal person, like just wasn't trying to do a lot. Like the lines the TT line was like his one little cheesy line, which we didn't need, but it's only one line. But
he's always taking tabs, right, Amanda? Like,
just like be happy. It was cute. Like, just come on.
I love it.
Is hanging with a super soldier and one of the biggest crime lords. He's talking about his TT, but all right, you got it. But that's one. Like, last week I had so many, so I was like, this is a great episode. Wakanda scenes is going to go down as my favorite scene probably in all the shows. I'm still marking this moment down. Crazy moment in the shows. We're getting this for $6.99. This is crazy. This is fantastic.
Steal.
Finally, I think the last thing on John Walker is that hating him and loving him. Like, the best part about hating John Walker was knowing that he was regular and like anyone could kick his ass, like anyone that we like. Now it's like, he can really do some real damage. It was awesome to see him get his ass kicked by the Dora. And that was a moment that I was like, yes, no matter what you do, you're not a superhero, so you can't I can't even get mad at you. So yeah, awesome episode. Really excited to see what happens with these last two. And yeah, we'll see how they wrap this up. I think they've turned it back up, because it was dipping a little bit, and we talked about that, how the show is not getting as much buzz as WandaVision. That makes sense. That was the first show. WandaVision is so confusing, and there's so many ways, so many theories. This, it took a little dip. It wasn't kind of like Zach said. Like, I wasn't really looking forward to each week's episodes, and then people weren't spoiling it that much on the internet. So I was like, people must not care about this. This week, I think turned it around, and we'll see how they finish with the last two.
Well said, man. Zach, man, overall take on this episode, and also, of course, predictions, and then we'll have like a little 5-10 minute segment on again the theory, because I have a website I'll pull up here, and we'll get you guys' take on next week's big cameo.
So after I'm done with my things, I actually do need to go. I need
Yeah,
to
for
get
sure,
my
man.
sister. But just to kind of give my overall thoughts, I really hope these next 2 episodes focus in on what the most important parts about the show is. Please do not add any more. You have the main stuff. You have the main things. Let's just go out and finish the show without a bang. Next week's the Pendulum episode. So you have to give it, like, this has to be the most important episode. Just like WandaVision, the second to last episode was the most important episode of the entire show.
And my favorite, too.
Same here. So I'm hoping this hits those marks. I'm worried it's not. I'm worried that this might be the peak of it, and I'm really hoping it's not, because I think as much as we as film fans aren't talking about the show still has high ratings, higher than WandaVision.
Yeah, man.
Which is insane. But it's because I think a general audience is talking about the show, or in general they're just watching it and not talking about it, because there's not much to talk about. In a sense, like this week there was a major thing. Last week's episode, cool. You know, we have a Wakandan showing.
Yeah, Adepero and all that. Yeah.
So I'm just curious to see what goes on. Let's not get our hopes up about this fucking cameo though. Let's just let's get low. If Mephisto shows up, then freaking awesome. If he doesn't.
No.
I want someone to buy her a shirt, please. Someone buy Amanda.
They're already making memes of me, Zach. They're calling me Mandafisto. I don't like it.
Mandafisto, that is nice. That is nice. I love it.
That is all I'm gonna call you now.
I think it's we need to go ahead and change that handle, Amanda. You need to change the handle.
Your YouTube, your website,
whole brand change.
Amandafisto, man.
Someone's gonna do it. It's not gonna be me.
Zach, before you head out, man, just one last take before you give your final plugs. I just want to kind of know, and then we'll pull up the article here in a bit, but who do you think that Cameo character is? Again, and I'll pull up the article in a second, but it supposedly is someone we haven't seen. It's from the comics, your theory, and then we'll go ahead and let you plug your channels and all that stuff, my friend.
I'm gonna go with the easy one. It's Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh?
Yeah, I just, something in me just says it's her. I don't know. It fits in this world. It fits within the role. Cool. That'll be a nice way to introduce her to the role and be like, oh, she's cool. And then she shows him Black Widow, gets a little bit more depth. I feel like whoever it is should be the power broker. I think if next week's episode we don't know who the power broker is, it's kind of dumb. Kind of
dragging.
Last episode. So I don't know. It's weird because it could be a major actor.
Yeah.
Or it could be someone, we don't know, because the major cameo in WandaVision was fucking White Vision.
Right, it was Paul Bettany playing Paul Bettany.
So is this John Walker playing someone else? Is this we don't.
Anthony Mackie's playing his twin brother.
Twin
brother.
So I don't know. I just really want to really lock down. Just focus in on the most important parts of the show. Finish it out. To be honest, though, it might be I keep forgetting his name. Isaiah's grandson, the Patriot.
Oh, Eli Bradley.
Yeah, it could be him. That could be the cameo. Maybe he comes out and he has his own suit or something, and we learn that he's kind of been the Captain America for that area. I don't know. I'm just spitballing at this point. I'm just trying to say and guess what's going on, but maybe it's Amanda Fisto.
Yep, there it is.
I have a scene with
You've heard it here first. Well,
is it like the scene from This Is the End when Jonah Hill's laying on the bed and the that world comes in?
Oh, Christ compels you.
Stop.
Hey, we're gonna go for a little bit longer, but Zach has to finish up some things. But again, Zach, it's always a pleasure, man. I definitely want to have you back on when we talk some Loki in the next couple of months. Of course, Black Widow. But my friend, if you want to let the people know where you're at, what's the next bit of awesome content you have lined up for the people?
Man, just come over to Zach Pope at YouTube. You can just come over there and we can keep talking movies, TV, and games. I don't know what's coming up this week besides like TV reviews for Invincible and Falcon Winter Soldier. It's kind of nice. This is a slow week for once. And then next week we get like Mortal Kombat stuff. And then after that, it's just like, hey, movies are coming back out. Don't forget. Hopefully, hope to God that we actually get all these movies stick to dates. But thanks so much for having me. I love doing the show. I love dissecting the show like every little bit. You are seriously like one of the best hosts. Like when you hop on for a podcast, like you lay it out, you organize it. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how much prep time you do, man, but like it must be a lot, dude. Like when I do these things, it's like, let's just talk. but you get it laid out, and I love it. So thank you so much for having me, guys. And I can't wait to listen to the rest of this as I go and finish out my day.
Hey, Zach, again, man, you always have a spot on this table, my friend. It's always a pleasure talking to you, man, and can't wait to have you back on, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to subscribe, follow, give Zach Pope some love because he's an awesome guy.
Yeah. And
Love
just guys,
you, Zach.
keep telling Amanda she's Amanda Fisto.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man.
I've seen you guys again.
Take care,
Bye.
Zach.
See ya.
Peace, bro.
Awesome. So, hey, look, the cameo, we've kind of alluded to it, but I'm going to bring up a quick article right here, and then we'll wrap things up. But there is the word around town, and we kind of alluded to it. But there's an article that's going around. And by the way, this is from HV News, a great person on Instagram that I follow. They have a lot of great stuff. And this is from their website. But this was said from Malcolm Spellman, the actual creator of the show. As you guys can see on the screen now, as he alludes to, this surprise character is not one that we've seen in the MCU before. So I guess we can eliminate anyone we've seen on the table. Even to Zach's point, we haven't technically met Florence Pugh yet, but he says that this person is primed to appear. They're not primed to appear in an upcoming movie. So I guess it actually takes away Zach's point of Florence Pugh because she's going to be in Black Widow.
Yeah.
However, we have learned that it is an existing Marvel Comics character who is played by a well-known performer. I have my thoughts. Amanda, I want to hear your thoughts. And again, just having fun. It might not be as big as we think it is. Again, with WandaVision, we learned a lesson, but just playing devil's advocate. Set the scene for me, Amanda. Is it you? Is it Amanda?
It's me.
Fisto?
Yes, I'm like the most famous person ever.
How are we doing this next week? Who's this character? X-Men?
Don't. No, I'm joking. I don't know because like I predicted like freaking Al Pacino for Mephisto in WandaVision. So it is crazy. It could have happened, but you know, they don't love us as much as we thought they did. So I'm kidding. But for Power Broker, like any cameo, like I'm trying to think. I'm literally drawing a blank. I have no idea who else could literally pop up. Michael, no. Sorry, I just saw his comment, but no. But yeah, I don't know. I'm like excited to hear like other people, like what I want to know what you guys think because I suck at predicting. I really do, and you guys are amazing when it comes to predicting. So like, I'd rather hear what like you guys have to say. I have no idea.
Chris, man, did you have any camp? Again, knowing the little tidbits, and there's another article, and I actually deleted or took down that site, but there was something else that he said in regards that it's a character. I think he said it's a she, actually. I think they refer to the character will be a female, and they would love to see that female interact with a character like a Thor in the future. Again, they're not going to be in a film anytime soon. So again, do you have any thoughts on this character?
I don't, especially since we haven't seen that person before. I'm always a big fan of like cameos from like, you know, familiar faces, especially at a time like this in a show we're trying to explore new characters. So like a nice little big blast in the past would have been dope. Yeah, if I don't know the person or like we haven't seen them in any MCU before, then it's got to be someone that's like, you know, like good for like the real comic book readers. And you know, we'll see. I mean, hopefully we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't get spoiled before fucking Friday, but
which I hope it doesn't. Spoilers have been pretty well kept so far for the show.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
So I'm gonna put my theory hat on here and take a little gander. So we know that we talked about John Walker and potentially getting off the hook. And we know that this person isn't coming in a movie anytime soon, but they didn't say that this character might not be in a show. She-Hulk, maybe? Jennifer Walters representing someone in court to maybe...
I feel like that's like a loophole because it said not an upcoming film, even though she's in the TV show.
Yeah.
With the words like that.
And they did say that it was a She-Hulk, and they would love to see her have an interaction with Thor, which Thor has some pretty good banter with the Hulk, and also with the She-Hulk thing in regards to potentially her being in the mix. Again, if she's representing not only John Walker, she could be getting Sharon Carter, getting her back to the U.S. and pardon her. So a character like that, getting her back to the U.S. could work in that favor. We'll see. As far as other characters, again, it might be the reveal of the Power Broker, but again, we're only a week away. So, but my money's on Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, making that cameo next week. So let's see. I can't wait to talk about it with you all and break it all down next week. But there you have it. 2.5 hours of geeking out, as we always do, having such a great discussion. Again, thank Zach for coming on. Of course, my incredible co-host, and of course, the amazing chat. Great conversation. So many great comments. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, it's so much fun. I always look forward to these. So kind of finishing this out, starting with you, Amanda, in regards to where they can find you. What's the next bit of content that we can expect on your platform?
Of course. Well, this was a complete blast. I love having these discussions with you guys. Elliot, you breaking it down, like Zach said, it's just amazing to go bit by bit and really dissect these episodes. It's just, you're awesome. Chris, I'm going to make you an I Heart Anthony Mackie t-shirt by the finale episode 100% because you're going to love them. You're going to love them.
Nice.
But yeah, you guys can find me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And you can find me on YouTube at Candid Cinema, where I will probably drop my episode 4 review either tonight or tomorrow. And you guys can check out my website at candidxcinema.com.
You heard her. Amanda Fisto. Do yourself a favor. Check her out.
Names all your handles.
Oh yeah, today we needed a man.
Well, but taken, bro. That's a great idea.
Oh, it's so great. It's so great. Chris, man, again, it's always a pleasure, my friend, chatting with you. Can't wait to have you joining, having a conversation next week, man. And of course, this weekend, I assume you're going to watch some more Melissa McCartney and Ben Falcone cameos with Thunder Force. But no, Chris, man, where can the people find you and what's next on Taste Take?
Yeah, for sure. I do want to watch. I don't think I saw Spy. They say Spy is actually a good one, but I don't think he did that one with her.
He didn't, and it's okay. So good he didn't because he's
good, right? All right, yeah, cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna see if I can find that one. So yeah, appreciate having me on here. Always a blast hanging with you and Amanda and whichever guest. I'm always excited to see who you have each week. So looking forward to that. Yeah, you guys can find me at Tate's Take, movie review, TV reviews, documentary reviews. I do it all. My next content, I just did Thunder Force. That's on my channel now. I put that out yesterday. I think today, Saturday, whatever. I don't know what it is. But next up, I have a documentary from Netflix. I'm back in my true crime bag. We got some crazy shit going on in the true crime world. You know how it is. People killing people and all good. And then Jamie Foxx's new sitcom, Dad, Stop Embarrassing Me. That's going to come up on my channel this week as well. So if you guys are into that kind of thing, check me out. It's going down.
And you guys will not be disappointed. Show Chris, Amanda, Zach some love. Follow them. Subscribe to their channels. Like the videos. Share the videos. All the great stuff because they are amazing people. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our Falcon and Winter Soldier live stream for episode 4, as well as talking some low-key news. And we appreciate you guys tuning in every single week. And we will be back next week with special guests. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there now. It is Mephisto. He will be making an appearance on the show. So bring your questions. Bring your wishes to the devil of whatever you want to do. But nonetheless, guys, we appreciate all the support and the love. And I can't wait to see you guys here next week. Again, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe to all of these great content creators. Stay safe out there. And we'll see you guys next week.